Naruto strolled through the streets of the Hidden Leaf Village, his mood dampened by his second failure to pass the graduation test. Failed again, he thought, letting out a bitter laugh. Figures. He wasn't paying attention to where his feet led him, nor did he notice the cold stares of the villagers as he passed. Before he knew it, Naruto stood in front of a shop he didn't recognize. Curiosity piqued, he stepped inside. Two men were in the middle of an argument over a peculiar-looking tag. "I'm telling you, that's not a storage tag," said a man with messy brown hair. "It looks more like it stores chakra." "No way, it's definitely a storage tag," the broader man with a deep voice replied. "Look, let's just activate it and find out." As they prepared to test the seal, Naruto caught a glimpse of it, and something about it struck a chord deep within. It felt like the seal was calling to him. "Wait," Naruto yelled, causing both men to freeze and turn toward him in surprise. "That's a detonation tag." They blinked at him, then laughed. "Kid, we don't need some runt telling us why." The man's voice trailed off as he took a closer look at the tag. His eyes widened. "He's right." "What the how'd we miss that?" the other muttered as he carefully picked it up. "It's an old-style explosive tag," said the first man thoughtfully. "No wonder we misread it, especially while bickering." "We could have blown the whole shop to bits," said his brother, glancing at Naruto. "Wouldn't that have been a great way to make an entrance in this village? Anyway, thanks for that, kid. I'm Denji, and this is my brother, Reiken." "I'm Naruto Uzumaki," he replied. "I gotta ask, Naruto," Reiken said, raising an eyebrow. "How did you know it was an explosive tag?" Naruto grinned, rubbing the back of his head. "I dunno, the markings just kinda looked like they meant boom." The brothers exchanged skeptical looks. "All right then, what about these?" Denji pulled out 3 more tags. "Can you tell us what they are?" Naruto studied them carefully, then pointed. "This is a basic seal tag, that one blocks chakra flow, and that one's a modern detonation tag." The brothers blinked in shock. "Kid nailed all 3, Reiken muttered. "Do you even know what sealing techniques are?" Naruto squinted in thought. "Ooh, might have slept through that part of Uruka-sensei's lesson." The 2 men were stunned again. "This kid's got no clue what sealing arts are, yet he's nailing advanced tags," Reiken thought, exchanging glances with his brother, who nodded and went to the back of the shop. He returned with a dusty, old book. "Here," Denji said, handing it over. "It's about Fuinjutsu sealing techniques." Naruto took it and opened it, then made a face and closed it. It looks boring." "Boring?" Reiken blurted out. "This stuff is one of the hardest fields to master. Not many people even try to learn it. But if someone were to truly master sealing arts, they could rival the power of any other ninja discipline." Naruto's eyes lit up. "So it can be stronger than regular jutsu?" "Yes," Reiken replied, only for his brother to chime in. "But only if used properly. A seal on the body, crafted and placed correctly, can be incredibly powerful. Problem is, most don't bother learning it anymore." "Then I will," Naruto shouted. "I'll become a sealing master." Reiken crossed his arms. Big words from a kid who looks like he couldn't lift a scroll. Naruto clenched his fists. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I don't back down from anything, I promise." Before they could reply, he sprinted out the door. The brothers exchanged knowing looks. "Finally found the brat," Denji muttered, cracking his neck. "Took longer than expected, but here he is," Reiken said. They thought hiding him under the Uzumaki name would protect him. If anything, it just made him more noticeable. But now, there's hope our clan might rise again. "Let's finish packing up," Denji said. "We've done what we came to do." Reiken nodded, but then turned just in time to see his brother tossing volatile tags near a lit ember. "You idiot," he yelled, snatching a bowl and smacking Denji over the head. "Those could have gone off." Denji grabbed the bowl and whacked him back. "You didn't have to hit me." The brothers lunged at each other, strangling each other as a customer walked in, paused, and slowly backed out of the shop. XXX Naruto sat on his bed, the book of seals resting in his lap. "Techniques more powerful than jutsu," he whispered. Opening the cover, he noticed a handwritten message inside. "Naruto, we gave you this book for a reason, to revive your bloodline. You are likely the last of the Uzumaki, a clan once feared and respected across nations, a rival to the Senju and Uchiha. By the time you read this, we'll be long gone. But we'll cross paths again someday. Train hard, learn the ancient craft, and use what you gain to protect yourself and those you care for." Denji and Reiken Naruto's hands trembled as he read it again. "I had a clan," he whispered. Determined to know more, he bolted out of his apartment and headed for the Hokage's office, but was told the third was in a meeting. So he went to the next best place, the library. Sneaking past the librarian, Naruto made his way to the back where clan histories were stored. He quickly located a book on the Senju, but when he looked for anything on the Uzumaki, he found an empty slot. Of course, he muttered bitterly. Flipping through the Senju book, he read aloud, Masters of all disciplines, known as the Clan of 1,000 Skills. But just as the book referenced another rival clan, the page had been torn. He skimmed ahead, reading about the first Hokage, gripping the book tightly as tears welled in his eyes. So close to the truth, dejected but determined, he went back to his apartment. He picked up the seal book again, this time reading it like it was sacred, memorizing every line. He didn't even notice night had fallen. Eventually, he passed out from exhaustion, still clutching the book like it was a lifeline. XXX Uruka was walking through the village when he spotted a familiar spiky-haired blonde. 2 more weeks till the new batch of students, he thought. Wonder what trouble Naruto's up to now. To his shock, Naruto was carrying a thick book with a tag marking his place and a small rectangular box. Where'd you get that? Uruka asked. Some guys gave it to me, Naruto said casually. Been reading it a lot, Uruka gawked. Naruto reading, has the world ended? I gotta go, I've got more reading to do, Naruto called as he walked off with the book tightly in hand. Uruka stared after him, stunned. Was that really Naruto? 2 weeks later, Uruka surveyed his new group of students with a weary sigh. Looks like I've got most of the next generation of clan heirs and the last Uchiha too. He shook his head, resigned. But then he furrowed his brows. Wait, where's Naruto? He was just about to leave and track down the notorious troublemaker when the classroom door swung open with a loud bang. Uruka turned quickly and blinked in surprise. Standing there was Naruto, but his outfit had undergone a noticeable transformation. Gone was his usual orange jumpsuit. Instead, he wore a loose-fitting shirt of orange and red that reached down to his wrists. His hands were wrapped in bandages, and the neckline was parted slightly. While his pants remained largely the same, they were now solid black. Across the back of his shirt was a huge spiral pattern, similar to the one on standard Chunin or Jonin vests, but this one covered nearly the entire back, resembling a vortex. His hair looked as if he had just rolled out of bed. Sorry, Uruka-sensei, I overslept, Naruto said cheerfully. His eyes scanned the silent room, and with a mischievous grin, he added, Figured I'd switch things up this year. Uruka gave a small chuckle and motioned for him to find his seat. All right, now that everyone's here, let's begin with some introductions. Uruka's gaze drifted back to Naruto, who was still smiling. Okay, Naruto, you can start. My name's Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm going to become Hokage, he said proudly. Uruka smiled. He'd heard that declaration many times before. But before he could move on, Naruto continued, and I want to learn everything I can about a certain clan. That statement drew curious glances across the classroom. I wonder which clan he's referring to, Uruka thought silently. All right, how about you, Nara? Uruka gestured to the boy attempting to doze off at his desk. Troublesome, Shikamaru muttered, dragging himself upright. Name's Shikamaru Nara, that's all, everything else is just a hassle. He promptly slumped back down to sleep. Very informative, Uruka thought dryly as he looked around. Most students weren't paying attention. Most were staring at Sasuke, except for one Hyuga girl who was sneaking glances at Naruto. Okay, let's skip the intros for now. How about we move on to Jutsu? That got the room's attention as students perked up. Who here knows any techniques? Uruka asked, watching 4 hands go up. But Naruto's hand caught his attention most. Wonder what trick he's planning now, Uruka mused. Well, considering the Uchiha's likely to show off, let's take this outside. The class stood and moved into the training yard, forming a loose semicircle around the volunteers. Who wants to go first? Uruka asked. Shikamaru stepped forward. Better to get it over with and nap through the rest, he said lazily, forming a hand sign. Shadow possession technique. His shadow stretched and connected with Uruka's. Then Shikamaru performed a ridiculous dance, and Uruka was forced to mimic it exactly. All right, I get it, Uruka shouted, while the class laughed. Shikamaru ended the technique and stepped back. Next, Choji walked forward, still munching on chips. Expansion Jutsu, he announced with a full mouth. Instantly, his body swelled up like a massive ball and rolled around the field before shrinking back to normal. Then came Sasuke. As soon as he stepped up, his fan club erupted in cheers. He performed a rapid series of hand signs and finished on the tiger seal. Fire style, fireball jutsu. He exhaled a large fireball, drawing admiration from the class. Finally, Naruto walked up. The laughter and chatter stopped instantly. Don't screw this up, Naruto reminded himself. Uruka-sensei, I'll need your help for this one. Uruka hesitated briefly but gave a small nod. Naruto closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and suddenly vanished. Wind whooshed past Uruka. He looked around and gasped as Naruto reappeared behind him, tapped him on the shoulder, and vanished again. The wind shifted again in the opposite direction. Impressive speed, Naruto, but that doesn't quite qualify as Uruka stopped mid-sentence. He couldn't move. He couldn't even speak. His eyes widened as he noticed Naruto holding a single-handed tiger seal. Uruka glanced down at his arm and saw dark markings spreading across it. I can't believe that actually worked. Naruto beamed with excitement. But the moment didn't last. Uruka surged chakra through his limbs and shattered the seal. Aw, come on, sensei, why'd you break it? Naruto pouted. Naruto, where did you learn Fuinjutsu? Uruka asked, clearly stunned. Not too long ago, Naruto replied brightly, lifting one leg. I made a seal that boosts my movement speed with a small chakra boost. It's more efficient than pushing chakra into my feet, though it only lets me move in straight lines, which is a drawback. As for the one I used on you, it was meant to paralyze, though if someone uses enough chakra, they can break it. Naruto looked proud. Uruka, meanwhile, was still in shock. The worst student in the class just pulled off something even seasoned ninja struggle with, Uruka thought, bewildered. If this keeps up, he might just become a sealing master. Naruto, do you understand how risky that is? Uruka asked sternly. Even one small mistake could be fatal. Naruto just grinned. That's the point, Uruka-sensei. No risk, no reward, he said before walking off, leaving Uruka standing in stunned silence. Naruto felt good. For once, he was on equal footing with Sasuke in terms of jutsu. His training in Fuinjutsu was paying off, though he still had trouble controlling how much chakra he poured into seals. Sometimes he overcharged them, causing them to backfire or explode, landing him in the hospital more than once. But even with those setbacks, he was making progress. What continued to hold him back were the academic portions. Questions about chakra theory or village history always tripped him up. But his training helped him focus better, and today's the day he planned to pass the Genin exam. He wasn't going to fail this time. I won't mess up, not now, Naruto said to himself. He remembered when he had been summoned to the Hokage office regarding his secret sealing studies. Flashback Naruto, Uruka tells me you've been experimenting with Fuinjutsu, Hiruzen said, eyeing him carefully. Is that true? Yes, Naruto replied, his tone slightly subdued. No matter how hard I try, I can't get the standard academy techniques down. But then I found this book on sealing and realized I'm kind of good at it. It doesn't rely on raw chakra power either, which helps me a lot. Hiruzen nodded, though his expression remained serious. You should have come to me sooner. Sealing arts are incredibly dangerous. One small mistake can be deadly. Naruto nodded, turning to leave before pausing. Hey, old man, is there any way you can help me with the clone jutsu? It's my worst subject. The Hokage gave a sad smile and lifted a hand to stop him. I'm sorry, Naruto. If I give you special treatment, others will expect the same. I hope you understand. Naruto nodded again and left. As the door closed behind him, Hiruzen signaled an ANBU. I want a constant watch on Naruto when he's not in class, Hiruzen said firmly. Keep him under surveillance. With his talent in sealing, it won't be long before certain people take an interest, either to kidnap him or kill him. The Hokage sighed deeply. Naruto, I had hoped this day wouldn't come so soon. Naruto watched as Sasuke rose and made his way toward the testing chamber, knowing his own turn was coming up next. Hinata's eyes held concern as she glanced at him. She was glad Naruto had finally found something he could do well, but every student, no matter their skill, had to be able to perform the Bunshin jutsu. Good luck, Naruto-kun, she thought quietly as Sasuke emerged wearing his Konoha headband. Naruto stood, but just as he approached the door, a small voice whispered, Gee, good luck, Naruto. Naruto spun around but couldn't see where the voice had come from. All right, Naruto, show me your Bunshin. Uruka instructed, hoping Naruto would succeed this time. Naruto inhaled deeply and brought his hands together. A puff of smoke appeared, and beside him, a clone formed, though it looked weak and sickly, twitching on the ground. Naruto felt a spasm in his eye as he met Uruka's gaze, who looked clearly disappointed. I don't get it, Naruto, Uruka said, folding his hands thoughtfully. You handle Fuinjutsu like it's second nature, but when it comes to the bunshin, this is what you produce. Naruto's head dropped, heavy with disappointment, until Mizuki's voice broke the silence. Come on, Uruka, cut him some slack this time, Mizuki said, smiling sweetly. Besides, look at what he's managed, Fuinjutsu, which few can even master. Naruto's hope sparked briefly, but it faded when Uruka spoke again. That doesn't change anything, Uruka said, his tone filled with pain. Every student must be able to perform the bunshin. Naruto can only create one, and it's pitiful. I'm sorry, but I can't pass you. He caught the hurt reflected in Naruto's deep blue eyes as the boy turned away, and Uruka felt his heart ache. Perfect. Now my plan can move forward, Mizuki thought, his smile cold and chilling. XXX Naruto sat alone on a swing, watching as parents congratulated their children on becoming ninja. He noticed some glances of disgust and resentment directed at him, but ignored them. It doesn't matter, he thought. No matter what I do, I won't pass the test. Suddenly, he sensed someone standing beside him. Looking to his right, he saw Mizuki smiling at him. XXX Naruto fled from the Hokage Tower, the sealing scroll strapped to his back, heading toward the place Mizuki had told him to meet. When he arrived, he looked around but saw no sign of Mizuki. Well, since I have the scroll, might as well learn something, Naruto muttered, opening it to the first jutsu. Kage Bunshin Shadow Clone. Damn, that's my worst skill. Oh well, I better get started. He spent the next hour practicing the technique until a furious Uruka appeared before him. There you are. Uruka's voice was sharp with anger. Looks like you found me, sensei, Naruto said, rubbing his head tiredly. I'm going to show you this amazing jutsu I learned from the scroll, and you'll have to make me a ninja. Uruka's face twisted in confusion. What are you talking about? Uruka asked, baffled. Mizuki told me that whoever masters a jutsu from the scroll can graduate, even if they fail the exam, Naruto explained, smiling until he saw Uruka's shock deepen. Uruka, what? Naruto was cut off by a sharp whistle. Both turned just in time to see kunai flying toward them. Watch out, Uruka shouted, pushing Naruto aside. Uruka took the full attack and slammed against an abandoned cabin, coughing blood. Naruto looked toward the attacker, Mizuki, with two Fuma shurikens strapped to his back. Mizuki, Uruka growled, struggling to move despite the pain. Give me the scroll, Naruto. Your test is done, Mizuki said, hoping Naruto would trust him. Don't, Naruto, Uruka warned. Mizuki's lying. Mizuki laughed coldly. I'm not lying, Uruka, Mizuki sneered. The whole village has lied to you since the start, Naruto. Uruka's eyes widened, realizing what was about to happen. Mizuki, no, Uruka shouted. What are you talking about? Naruto asked uneasily. There's a secret law no one speaks of the decree, Mizuki said with a sinister smile. What decree? Naruto asked, dread creeping in. It's forbidden, Mizuki, Uruka shouted again. The decree that no one can speak about the Kyuubi being sealed inside a baby, Mizuki said, watching Naruto's eyes grow wide. That baby was you, Naruto. That's why everyone hates you, and why no one would mourn if you died. Mizuki pulled a massive buzz saw-like shuriken from his back and hurled it at Naruto. The blade flew closer and closer. Naruto dive, Uruka yelled. Naruto ducked just in time, feeling something wet drip onto his hand. Looking up, he saw Uruka leaning over him, the shuriken lodged in his back. Blood trickled from Uruka's mouth, but despite the pain, he smiled at Naruto. Are you okay? He asked, each word heavy. Why? Naruto whispered. Because I know what it's like to grow up alone, Uruka said. I understand why you pull pranks to get noticed, I see it all. But I never tried to help. I'm sorry, Naruto. Naruto felt a flicker of warmth until Mizuki spoke again. That's a joke, Mizuki chuckled. Uruka's only lying so you don't use the scroll to get revenge. Who can blame him for hiding the truth from the one who almost destroyed Konoha? Naruto did the one thing Uruka dreaded. He sprinted away from them both. Naruto, Uruka cried. You see that look in his eyes, Uruka, Mizuki taunted, approaching the injured man. He'll take that scroll and ruin the village. That's what monsters do. Uruka pulled the shuriken from his back. Naruto is not a monster, Uruka shouted, throwing the giant weapon at Mizuki, who easily dodged. I'll deal with you later, Mizuki said, then ran off. Uruka fell to one knee, glaring after him. I won't let you, he vowed, rising and chasing after. XXX Mizuki, disguised as Uruka, caught sight of Naruto running ahead and grinned. Naruto, everything Mizuki said was a lie, he said, stepping up behind Naruto. He only said those things because. He never finished as Naruto suddenly leapt and headbutted Mizuki's gut, sending him crashing down. How did you know I wasn't Uruka? Mizuki gasped as his disguise faded. Naruto smiled. Because I am Uruka, he said, shifting back to his true form. Mizuki pulled his last shuriken and threw it, piercing Uruka's stomach. Blood poured as Mizuki tore the weapon out. Why protect that animal? Mizuki snarled. He killed your parents. My problems with the Kyuubi, not Naruto, Uruka said, blood staining his face and vest. Besides the pranks, Naruto's done nothing to harm me or the village. Mizuki laughed. Fine. If you want to die for the demon, then die. Mizuki charged, but Naruto kicked him hard in the head, sending him flying. Touch Uruka again, and I won't just kill you, Naruto warned. I'll tear you apart. Mizuki started to reply, but Naruto quickly formed his fingers in a cross. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Thick smoke filled the area, and when it cleared, Uruka and Mizuki stood surrounded by hundreds of Naruto clones. Mizuki glanced around, then at his single shuriken, dread washing over him just before the clones attacked. Fuck, Mizuki thought as the forest erupted in screams. Naruto watched the clones vanish into smoke. Turning, he saw Uruka breathing heavily. Uruka-sensei, I'm sorry I almost stole this scroll, Naruto began, but Uruka chuckled weakly. Judging by the blood, I don't have long. But I can at least make things right. Uruka took a deep breath. Close your eyes, Naruto. Surprised, Naruto obeyed. Open them. When Naruto did, he saw Uruka wasn't wearing his headband. Touching his forehead, he felt the metal there. Congratulations, Naruto, you passed. Uruka's eyes dimmed slowly. Iruka-sensei, please don't die, Naruto cried out, looking around for help. You're one of the few who treats me like I'm not a curse. Please don't leave. Uruka smiled, then reached into a scroll. With a puff of smoke, he revealed a vest, its zipper broken and blackened like it had been burned. Naruto, this belonged to my father, and since I won't be needing it anymore, Uruka said as he handed Naruto the vest. I want you to have it so you can always remember me. Naruto didn't know how to respond. He glanced at the vest, then looked back at Uruka, tears welling up as he absorbed Uruka's words and the scene before him. Naruto, you've always been my favorite student. You've almost always reminded me of myself. With that, Uruka passed away, a gentle smile on his face. Naruto, meanwhile, was weeping, clutching Uruka's body as if holding on tightly could bring him back. He remained like that until the Hokage and 3 others arrived and escorted Mizuki away. Sarutobi cautiously approached Naruto. Are you okay, Naruto? Sarutobi asked, though he already knew the answer. He died because of me, Naruto said, tears streaming down his face as he looked at Sarutobi. If only I hadn't. Sarutobi quickly pulled Naruto into a comforting hug. It's not your fault, Naruto, Sarutobi said softly. Mizuki took advantage of your vulnerability. The blame lies with him, not you. Naruto cried into the elder Hokage's chest, while Sarutobi gently led him away from Uruka's body. 2 Jonin arrived and began carrying Uruka back to the village. Sarutobi watched as Naruto placed the vest Uruka had given him over his shirt. Before Sarutobi could speak, Naruto cut in. So, what happens now? Naruto asked, holding Uruka's headband in his hands. First, we must give Uruka a proper farewell, Sarutobi answered. Then we'll need to rearrange the teams and assign you to a new one. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise. Why? Naruto asked. Not that I mind, but I thought after tonight, he trailed off. Naruto, Uruka gave you his headband because he believed you were ready to be a ninja, Sarutobi said kindly. Ignoring his last wish would be foolish. Naruto nodded slowly, though his usual enthusiasm was absent. When is the funeral? Naruto asked, looking down. Today, Sarutobi said, watching Naruto nod once more before heading for the door. He truly cared about you, Naruto. Every time you struggled with a jutsu, he came to me for advice. He believed you'd become the best ninja someday. Naruto paused at the door, then quietly closed it behind him. I promise, Uruka, I will always protect those who mean the most to me, Naruto thought. The funeral passed quietly. Uruka's classes came to pay their respects, but life for Naruto worsened. The adults petitioned the Hokage to strip Naruto of his ninja rank and ban him from the academy, blaming him for stealing the sealing scroll and for Uruka's death. Sarutobi refused their demands. Naruto was the first to arrive at the funeral and the first to lay a flower on Uruka's grave, a fact that angered many adults. When the ceremony ended, only a few remained: Naruto, Hinata, Shino, and Sarutobi, who kept glancing at Naruto with concern. Shino approached Naruto, sitting before Uruka's grave, and awkwardly gave him a reassuring pat on the shoulder. Sarutobi and Hinata soon joined them. Sarutobi gave Naruto a brief hug. Soon, only Hinata and Naruto were left. Nervous, Hinata glanced around, unsure what to say, until Naruto stood and started walking away. "I'm so sorry about Uruka," Hinata stammered. "You two were close." Naruto turned, and for the first time all day he smiled a faint, sad smile. "Yeah, we were close," Naruto said, looking at the grave again. "Hey, Hinata." Hinata looked up attentive. "Usually, Uruka and I would go out for ramen. Would you want to join me?" Hinata was stunned and nearly lost her composure but gathered herself. "Sure, Naruto," she replied, blushing. She knew this wasn't a date, but Naruto wasn't himself right now, and he needed someone, and that someone was her. Naruto smiled and headed toward his favorite ramen shop, thinking about all the times he and Uruka had spent there. Team assignments were delayed for 4 days to find a new instructor and to allow time for everyone to heal from Uruka's death. Naruto spent those days alone in his apartment, throwing kunai at the walls in frustration. The only visitors he welcomed were Sarutobi and Hinata. Sarutobi stopped by occasionally to check on him, and Hinata brought food, quietly supporting her crush. During those 4 days, Naruto and Hinata grew close, not quite a couple, but close enough. Hinata was the one who finally got Naruto out of his apartment. Naruto returned to the academy wearing his usual grin, signaling to everyone that he was back. But there was a new seriousness behind his smile. He still joked when he could, but if anyone bullied his teammates, that lightheartedness vanished, replaced by cold focus. His appearance changed, too. His hair had grown wilder and longer over those 4 days. People noticed he trained harder and faster than ever, as if Uruka's death had ignited a fierce determination in him. His arms, hands, and neck were wrapped in bandages, prompting curious glances from classmates eager to see what lay beneath. Some students welcomed the change, seeing that Naruto was ready to protect his team at all costs. Suddenly, a man carrying a clipboard entered the classroom, and everyone guessed he was here to announce team assignments. "My name's Genma," he said, scanning the room. "I'm here to tell you your squads. Let's get started." Everyone listened closely. Team 7 will be Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno. Your Jonin instructor will be Kakashi Hadake. There were mixed reactions. Sakura quietly chanted that she was on the same team as Sasuke. Sasuke shrugged with indifference, and Naruto gave no reaction except a faint smile that some missed. Team 8 will be Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburame, and Kiba Inuzuka. Your Jonin instructor will be Kurenai Yuhai. Genma continued until all teams were assigned. Your instructors should arrive within the hour. Until then, get to know your teammates. Genma left, and the students dispersed with their teams. Only Team 7 stayed behind. "Sasuke, want to grab something to eat while we wait for our teacher?" Sakura asked, hoping to get Sasuke alone. He ignored her, watching Naruto carefully as he began drawing seals on small tags. "Naruto," Sasuke said, catching his attention. "What are you doing?" Naruto grinned. "I'm making a special seal for someone," he said playfully. "Come on, I'm starving, let's eat." Naruto stood to leave. "You coming?" Naruto asked. Sasuke shrugged and followed, with Sakura trailing behind. Unnoticed by both, one of Naruto's shadow clones slipped 2 tagged seals into Sasuke's and Sakura's packs. 3 hours later, where is he? Sakura shouted, pacing anxiously. "He's 2 hours late." Naruto, instead of getting angry, calmly drew a seal on a bucket of water and another above the classroom door. Sasuke watched with confusion. What is he up to now? He wondered, observing Naruto fill the bucket. Naruto hid it beneath his desk, propped his feet up, and waited. The door opened, revealing a man with his headband covering his left eye, silver hair defying gravity. He looked around, noticing Sakura's glare. "My first impression is," Kakashi started, but was interrupted when Naruto formed a tiger seal and vanished in a puff of smoke. Moments later, water and a bucket splashed over Kakashi. "I guess you're all wet now," Naruto chuckled. Kakashi removed the bucket and noticed a seal on its bottom. Looking up, he saw another seal above the door, the exact opposite. "Transference seals," Kakashi realized, then watched Naruto approach with hands in pockets. "So the Hokage was right, he's been studying seals." Naruto smiled broadly. "Meet me on the roof in 1 minute," Kakashi said, vanishing in a swirl of leaves. Naruto's smile grew wider as he headed toward the stairs with Sasuke and Sakura close behind. The rooftop Kakashi surveyed the team standing before him with a discerning gaze. "All right, let's start with introductions," he said, turning to Sakura. "You with the pink hair go first." The nickname irritated Sakura, but she wasn't sure what Kakashi was getting at. "What do you mean?" she asked. "Fine, I'll begin," Kakashi sighed. "I'm Kakashi Haddock. As for dislikes, I'd rather not say. There are plenty of things I enjoy, and honestly I haven't given much thought to my future." They only learned his name, the three silently thought, beads of sweat forming on their foreheads. "I'm Sakura Haruno, and I like." Sakura glanced shyly at Sasuke, blushing. "I dislike perverts and silly Ino, and my dream is." She giggled softly, stealing another glance at Sasuke. "All right, you with the attitude," Kakashi said, pointing at Sasuke, who looked only mildly annoyed. "I'm Sasuke Uchiha," he said firmly. "I have no likes and many dislikes. My mission is to restore the Uchiha clan and take down one particular man." Kakashi's concern about Sasuke grew, but he pushed it aside for now. "Okay, Whiskers, you're up," Kakashi said, gesturing at Naruto, who was busy crafting a new seal. "My name's Naruto Uzumaki," Naruto said without looking up. "I like designing seals and learning new jutsu. I hate people who judge without giving someone a chance. My dream is for people to remember a certain clan, and also to become Hokage." "Huh, a fangirl, an avenger, and a Jinchuriki with a knack for Fuinjutsu," Kakashi mused with interest. "Everyone meet me at Training Ground 3 for the Genin test," Kakashi announced, raising a hand to stop any interruptions. "Be there at 8 sharp, and don't eat anything beforehand, you'll just throw up." With that, Kakashi disappeared in a swirl of leaves, leaving the team lost in thought. Next day, Training Ground 7 Team 7 waited in the field, an hour past Kakashi's expected arrival. Sakura bounced excitedly, but Sasuke and Naruto remained calm. Secretly, Naruto created a few clones to place seals around the area, while Sasuke leaned against a tree, watching. Suddenly, Kakashi appeared, waving. "Where have you been?" Sakura yelled. "Well, you see," Kakashi grinned. "I was on my way when an old lady asked for help, then I had to dodge a black cat, and finally, I got a bit lost on the road of life." Sakura flat out called him a liar. Sasuke silently stood, but Naruto reacted the most. "Lost on the road of life," Naruto raised an eyebrow. Kakashi nodded. "That happens to me too sometimes. That road has some amazing views, you know." Everyone was shocked, but Kakashi smiled at the blonde. "Yeah, it does, Naruto," Kakashi agreed. "All right, time to start this test." He held up 2 bells. "If you grab a bell, you pass and get to eat. The one who doesn't is tied to a post." "But there are only 2 bells," Sakura pointed out, earning a knowing smile from Kakashi. "Exactly, one of you won't pass and will have to return to the academy." Shocked faces all around. "So come at me with everything you've got." "Gyo," Kakashi shouted as the team scattered. Kakashi scanned the area. "Not bad." Suddenly Naruto appeared before him. "You know you're supposed to hide, right?" Kakashi said. Naruto grinned. "Yeah, but if I hide, I can't test my seals." He unclipped a pocket from his vest and pulled out a red tag with a seal on it. "This might work or it might blow me up. But hey, you learn by trying." "Better stay alert," Kakashi thought, taking a defensive stance. Naruto raised the tag to head height, released it, then held his palm behind it. The tag hovered, confusing Kakashi until Naruto spoke clearly. "Fuinjutsu, Shaokyaku sealing technique, incineration." The tag burst into flames, releasing a fireball. Kakashi barely dodged as the fire streamed toward him. When Naruto moved his arm, the flames followed, forcing Kakashi to keep dodging until the fire died out. He actually managed to trap fire in a seal, Kakashi thought, impressed. After the flames faded, Naruto looked at his hand thoughtfully. 3 seconds, he said, puzzling Kakashi. "That's how long the seal lasts." He reached for another tag, but Kakashi quickly vanished behind him and tried to knock him out. Naruto disappeared instead. "Kage Bunshin," Kakashi said with a smirk. "Interesting." Naruto was nowhere to be seen. "The real one is hiding, sending clones to attack and scout." Looks like all that Fuinjutsu training paid off, both in smarts and patience. Kakashi began creating clones to hunt for the 3 kids. "Come on, have you 2 ever heard of a 2-man team?" Naruto asked Sasuke and Sakura, who looked doubtful. "Maybe it's a special rule," Sakura guessed, though uncertain. Sasuke was thoughtful while Naruto stared between them. "Okay, let's work together. I'll create an opening, you guys grab those bells. I don't mind losing, Naruto said, jumping up and running into the forest. What do you think, Sasuke? Sakura asked, looking at her crush. Sasuke didn't respond but watched Naruto's figure fade away. Where could they be? Kakashi muttered to himself. Maybe try looking in the trees, came a voice. Kakashi looked up just in time to see Naruto holding 2 red tags. Fuinjutsu. Shaokyaku. 2 fiery streams shot toward Kakashi, who dodged. As the fire died, Naruto emerged, eyes blazing. He swung at Kakashi, who dodged and kicked him into a tree. Naruto vanished in smoke. What's he planning? Kakashi wondered. He keeps sending clones, almost like he's. Suddenly realization hit him hard. Oh no, Kakashi yelled, sprinting for the forest exit. He's using seals. That means he could have. Naruto appeared, hands in a serpent seal. Laid a trap, Naruto finished. Fuinjutsu, horn sealing technique, disintegration circle. From 2 trees on Kakashi's sides, orange tendrils with spirals shot out, wrapping around and pinning Kakashi's arms. The tendrils came from tags on the tree bark. Damn, how did I fall for such an obvious trap? Maybe if I destroy one of those tags. Kakashi freed a hand and threw an explosive kunai at a tree. The explosion destroyed the tree and the tendrils vanished. Kakashi looked down at Naruto, breathing heavily. Looks like the seal needs a constant chakra flow, and interrupting it drains you, Kakashi thought. But Naruto smiled. I never meant to keep you still, Naruto said playfully. Kakashi's eyes widened as he saw Sasuke and Sakura reaching for the bells. Not bad, but I'm a jonin, Kakashi said, making everyone freeze. And now I know not to enter this forest. His clone exploded into smoke. Damn, a cage bunshin, Naruto cursed. He unwrapped bandages on his right arm, revealing seals with various meanings, including static. Guess I'll have to show some of my secret Fuinjutsu, he said, standing unsteadily and heading toward the forest exit. Let's move. Kakashi glanced at the clock. 3 minutes left. They get the idea to work as a team. Let's see if they can grab those bells. The 3 emerged from the forest, but Kakashi's eyes caught Naruto's sealed arms. What's the plan with those? Kakashi asked. Naruto grinned, making a tiger seal with his left hand while pointing with his right finger at Kakashi. Did you know static electricity is always around us? Naruto said as Sasuke finished a hand sign and Sakura drew a kunai. A nervous feeling crept in Kakashi's stomach. Okay, so what now? He asked, which only made Naruto smile wider. Fuinjutsu, Byakurai sealing technique, pale lightning, Naruto announced. The seals on his right arm crackled with blue lightning. Kakashi watched as a blue spark formed on Naruto's finger. He barely dodged a static bolt that whizzed past his face. Then he saw Sasuke with his hands together in a tiger seal, Katen. Great fireball technique, Sasuke announced, shaping his fingers into a circle near his lips. Kakashi barely managed to dodge the powerful jutsu, only to immediately run into Sakura, who swung her kunai straight at him. When I told them to attack with lethal intent, I didn't expect them to take it so seriously, Kakashi thought, grabbing Sakura's arm and twisting it until she dropped the kunai. He caught it and pressed the blade against her throat. So, what's your next move? Kakashi asked, watching as Naruto's arm began to glow with static electricity. But Naruto did something Kakashi hadn't predicted. He turned and fired the electric charge directly at Sasuke. Sasuke stared as the bolt approached him, but just before it could strike, it veered and hit his pack instead. The pack absorbed the energy and then vanished. What the Kakashi began, but his attention snapped to a crackling noise. Looking down, he saw Sakura's pack glowing fiercely. Damn, Kakashi muttered just before the static bolt shot from Sakura's pack, striking him in the stomach. Kakashi dropped both Sakura and the kunai. The electric charge didn't pass through him. Instead, it slowed his movements, tightening his muscles like a taser would. He looked up to see Naruto on one knee, breathing heavily and clutching his arm in pain, but still smiling. Sakura and Sasuke lunged for the bells, but before either could grab one, the bell rang. Kakashi exhaled deeply as his muscles relaxed. Looks like none of you got any bells, he said, motioning for them to follow. The 3 of them settled at various posts. Even though I wasn't going full force, you all came close. Kakashi frowned at Naruto, who was still holding his right arm but moving it more steadily. Naruto, what did you do when you fired at Sasuke? Naruto didn't answer but reached into Sakura's pack and pulled out a charred tag. When we were assigned as a team yesterday, I wanted to be sure if Sakura or Sasuke got captured, I could rescue them, Naruto explained, placing the tag down. It slowly turned to ash and drifted away. Sasuke emptied his pack but found nothing except a pile of ashes. So you made a plan to save your teammates if things got tight, Kakashi said, pride creeping into his voice. Where did you get that idea? Naruto's smile faded, replaced by a sad frown. I thought about it when Uruka died, Naruto said quietly. Kakashi realized he'd touched a sensitive subject. Well, I guess I have to send all three of you back to the academy, Kakashi said, turning to give them one final test. Let's see if your teamwork was just luck. No way are we failing, Sasuke and Sakura said together. Oh yeah. Why not? Kakashi asked, annoyed. Because the test wasn't about grabbing the bells, Sasuke smirked. It was to see if we could work together. And who ever heard of a two-man squad? Sakura added proudly. All right, then I have no choice, Kakashi said, lightning flashing behind him. You all pass. Cheers erupted. Kakashi approached Naruto, who was wrapping his arm. How's your arm? Naruto looked up and grinned. It's fine, Naruto said as he finished bandaging. If I use it too much, I feel the static tightening my muscles, but it's nothing serious. Kakashi nodded and glanced at the others. What do you think about this team? He asked, curious about Naruto's take. I'd say we're ready for anything, Naruto replied, looking at Sasuke and Sakura. How about we travel this road of life together and see where it leads? Kakashi chuckled and patted Naruto on the back. Do you have the target in sight? Kakashi's voice crackled through the earpiece. Yes, Sasuke replied. Roger, Naruto added with a chuckle. Yes, Sakura confirmed. Then move in, Kakashi ordered. Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke burst from the forest, chasing the fleeing target, who was caught by Naruto's shadow clone. The cat kept clawing at the clone, but it protected anything vital. Target secured, the team said as Naruto grabbed the cat and the clone vanished. Check the collar. Does it say Tora? Kakashi asked. Yes, Naruto said, but as he leaned in, the cat scratched his face. Naruto yanked it away, tempted to throw it, but remembered it was a mission. Tora, yelled the wife of the fire daimyo. Don't ever run off again, she said, placing money on Sarutobai's desk before leaving, clutching the cat. I feel sorry for that cat, Naruto thought, cringing as the cat's eyes darted anxiously. Good work everyone, Sarutobai smiled. What kind of job do you want next? Painting, house-sitting, or Sarutobai didn't finish as Naruto interrupted. None of those, Naruto said. I think it's time for a real mission. Sarutobai looked at Naruto, amused. Oh yeah, and why's that? Because we're the best, Naruto grinned. Kakashi playfully smacked Naruto's head. Naruto glared but then noticed Kakashi reading an orange book. Sarutobai sighed, looking at Kakashi and the team. Kakashi, what's your take? He asked. Kakashi glanced at his team. Sasuke was indifferent, staring around. Sakura watched Sasuke and Naruto nervously. Naruto was sketching a new seal design. I think they can handle a C-rank mission, Kakashi said, smiling as the team beamed back. Sarutobai nodded. All right then. I have a simple escort mission to the Land of Waves. As he said this, the door opened, revealing an old man with a straw hat and a bottle of sake. This is Tazuna, and this is the team escorting him. Tazuna frowned at the group. This is it, he said disdainfully. Just kids, the blonde one looks the weakest. Naruto got a check mark on his list. Hey listen, old man, Naruto shouted, grabbing Tazuna's full attention. I don't care that you're the client. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm going to lead this village one day. Naruto caught a flicker of thought cross Tazuna's eyes. Uzumaki, Tazuna mused, confused. Why does that name sound familiar? He shrugged it off. I guess they'll do. Let's move. Turning away, the group didn't see Tazuna quietly pondering Naruto's surname. Naruto walked alongside Kakashi while Sasuke and Sakura stayed with Tazuna. Kakashi was reading when a reflection caught his eye. He glanced at a puddle of water. Strange, hasn't rained here for days, he thought, putting his book away. Suddenly, two figures burst from the water, wearing breathing masks, tattered cloaks, and chained gauntlets. They wrapped Kakashi in barbed chains. One down, Mizu said gleefully. The chains tightened, slicing Kakashi in half. 3 more to go, Gazu finished. The pair turned to face a roundhouse kick from Naruto and Sasuke. They ducked under the blows and glided like ghosts. They're fast, Sasuke thought, noticing Naruto reaching for his left arm bandages. Naruto better act fast. Naruto ripped off the bandages, revealing a storage seal from wrist to elbow. He channeled chakra into it, and in a puff of smoke, he held a Fuma shuriken. Unlike usual, the blades curved like fangs and were jet black. "Sasuke, can you give me an opening?" Naruto asked, spinning the deadly shuriken. "Watch who you're talking to, Dobi," Sasuke smirked, charging at the brothers. The two glided toward him but jumped toward Sakura, who stood in a protective stance with kunai in front of Tazuna. "Damn," Naruto cursed, spinning and throwing the shuriken over the brothers, confusing them. Sasuke saw Naruto's fingers form a bird seal and knew the plan. He charged at the demon brothers who neared Sakura, but just as they raised their gauntlets, a chant echoed. Sealing technique. Hailstorm barrage. The shuriken glowed with seals along its edges. Suddenly, weapons of all kinds, from spears to kunai to swords and daggers, rained down on the brothers, forcing them to dodge or become pincushions. Mizo glanced at Naruto, who was smiling calmly at him. "We have to handle him," Mizo told his brother, who gave a slight nod. The two started charging at Naruto, but then the brothers faced another shock. Katen. Gakikyu no Jutsu. They heard the chant and barely avoided a fireball that scorched the trees beside them. They exchanged looks with Sasuke and then at each other, silently agreeing. Suddenly, the chain binding them snapped, and Gazu and Mizo went after separate targets. Gazu lunged at Naruto while Mizo moved toward Sasuke. Naruto began to form the cross sign with his fingers when two dogs appeared from nowhere, tackling Gazu and pinning him down. Mizo glanced at his brother only to be met with a punch to the face that knocked him out cold. "Nice work, everyone," Kakashi praised, as his dogs held Gazu firmly on the ground. Kakashi approached the fallen ninja and knocked him unconscious as well. When the dogs vanished in a puff of smoke, Kakashi grabbed the two captives and tied them to a tree. "Tazuna, you do realize these aren't ordinary bandits, right?" Kakashi fixed his gaze on Tazuna, who tried to avoid eye contact. "Care to explain?" Tazuna sighed and began recounting the tale of Gato, explaining how he invaded and took control of the village. He told them his village was economically crippled because of Gato, and the only mission rank he could afford was C rank. Kakashi nodded thoughtfully. "Well, with these demon brothers showing up, I'd say this mission just jumped from C rank to A rank. Normally, if a client lies, we take them back to the village, and since this mission..." His words were cut off by Naruto. "We're not giving up just yet, are we?" Naruto said, standing beside Tazuna after resealing all his weapons back into his shuriken and storing it on his arm. "Look, I don't back down and I don't quit. That goes for missions too." Kakashi looked to his teammates. "Do the rest of you feel the same?" "We took this mission," Sasuke said, starting to head toward Nami no Kuni. "It'll be tough, but we're ready," Sakura added, turning to follow Sasuke. "All right then, we move forward," Kakashi declared, turning to see his team disappearing over a hill. Sasuke was walking when he heard rustling from the bushes. Before anyone could react, he threw a kunai at the sound. Out leapt a pure white rabbit, frightened. Sakura caught it gently and began soothing the creature. "You could have hurt the rabbit, Sasuke," Sakura scolded. Sasuke shrugged and kept walking. Kakashi caught up just in time to see the rabbit as Sakura released it. A snow rabbit in this weather, Kakashi thought, just as a sharp whistling cut through the air. He turned to see a massive sword spinning towards them. "Get down!" The group dropped just as the blade shot past, embedding in a tree. Looking up, they saw a man standing on the sword's hilt. A scarf covered the lower half of his face, camo pants clung to his legs, and his chest was bare. "Zabuza Mamachi," Kakashi said grimly as he rose. "Kirigakure no Kijin, demon of the hidden mist." "Kakashi Hadake," Zabuza replied with a smirk. "Copy Ninja Kakashi. Perfect, I can kill the bridge builder and one of Konoha's top shinobi." "Stay out of this fight, he's beyond your level," Kakashi warned, lifting his headband to reveal a Sharingan eye. Sasuke stared in disbelief. "He's not an Uchiha, is he?" he wondered, watching Kakashi assume a fighting stance. Kakashi glanced at his team and smiled. "Don't worry, I won't let him harm any of you." He turned just as Zabuza gripped his giant sword. "Done with the sentimental talk," Zabuza taunted. Kakashi answered by charging forward with kunai drawn. He swung at Zabuza, who leapt over the strike and aimed a sword slash at Kakashi's head. Kakashi jerked back just in time to avoid a brutal cut. He landed a kick on Zabuza's side, sending him crashing down on his back. Kakashi paused, ready to strike again, but Zabuza pressed his hands together. "Kirigakure no Jutsu," Zabuza intoned as a dense mist rolled in, cloaking him. Kakashi's eyes narrowed. Even with his Sharingan, his vision was obscured. The mist carries chakra, Kakashi realized. This just got dangerous. Suddenly, Zabuza's voice echoed. There are so many places I could strike you, he said. Too many choices, I don't know which to pick. Kakashi guessed his move, the bridge builder. Kakashi sprinted toward Naruto and the others. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura were in a semicircle around Tazuna when Zabuza appeared between them, sword raised. He smiled when he saw Kakashi arrive. Sorry but you, Zabuza was cut off by a barrage of cage bunchins in Naruto's form. Lose, Naruto finished. His right palm was raised, holding a red tag. Zabuza watched as Tazuna, Sakura, and Sasuke vanished in smoke. Fuinjutsu, Shaokyaku. Zabuza's eyes widened when a jet of fire erupted, incinerating the clones. When the flames died, there was only a damp spot on the ground. Naruto gritted his teeth, the real Zabuza was still out there. Sasuke and Sakura emerged from the forest, escorting Tazuna. Good job, Naruto, Kakashi praised. Now Sasuke, Sakura, and... His words were cut short as Naruto was grabbed by a water whip, slammed into trees, and thrown down, just 3 feet from Zabuza's blade. Naruto, Kakashi rushed forward but was stopped by several water clones appearing and surrounding them. Sorry, but I have business with the runt, Zabuza said. My clones can keep you busy. They only have 1/10 of my strength, but a small army should do the trick. Damn, Kakashi thought, drawing his kunai and watching Naruto, who gave him a thumbs up. He must have been preparing clones before we arrived, but he's probably running low on chakra. Then Kakashi noticed a small bag on the ground. Soldier pills, I need to get those to Naruto fast. Zabuza chuckled as his clones began attacking. Now where were we, runt? He asked. Naruto mumbled his reply. I'm sorry I didn't hear that, too scared to speak, Zabuza teased. Naruto suddenly shouted. My name is not runt, he yelled. It's Naruto Uzumaki. Zabuza's eyes widened at the name. No way in Uzumaki, Zabuza thought. They were all wiped out long ago. Lost in thought, he didn't notice Naruto unraveling the bandages on his arms and neck, revealing seals. Zabuza noticed and clenched his teeth. Damn, he really is in Uzumaki. He stepped back, pointing his sword at Naruto. Sorry kid, but if I let you live, you'll ruin my mission. He charged, but Naruto's right arm crackled with static. Fuinjutsu, Byakurai, Naruto announced, releasing a bolt of electricity that struck Zabuza's left arm, numbing it. So the seal on his right arm absorbs static and fires it out as a paralyzing bolt, Zabuza analyzed. His left arm holds a storage seal containing a giant shuriken and other weapons. I need to disable that arm first. Feeling sensation return to his left arm, Zabuza swung his sword, but Naruto activated his storage seal, releasing the massive shuriken. The sword struck the shuriken, forcing Naruto to stumble back, but he quickly regained balance and hurled the huge blade at Zabuza. The enemy dodged left and sliced the spinning shuriken in half, but the blade vanished, revealing a cage bunchin that disappeared in smoke. He turned a clone into a real shuriken, Zabuza thought in awe. This kid is a treasure. If he were from Kirigakure, I'd have taken him with me. Zabuza snapped back to reality as Naruto formed hand signs, palms facing him. Zabuza noticed seals on Naruto's palms, so he can only use that seal when his palms meet. Then he felt the wind being pulled toward Naruto. This could get dangerous. I only have enough chakra for one shot, Naruto thought as his body started to tire. I can't miss. Fuinjutsu, TNRAN sealing technique, orchid sky, Naruto shouted as a spinning ball of wind formed in his hands. Zabuza's eyes widened as the ball grew into a tornado-shaped drill, ripping chunks from the earth. Damn it, Zabuza thought as he sprinted, leaping onto the water's surface and pushing forward. But when he glanced back, he saw Naruto forcing himself, channeling more chakra into his technique. That kid's going to destroy himself. Suddenly, the tornado split into two and rushed toward Zabuza. He watched as the twin whirlwinds closed in, but just before they could slice him, they vanished. Wide-eyed, Zabuza turned to see Naruto kneeling, gasping for air, blood dripping softly from his mouth. I need to finish this foolish battle now. Zabuza muttered, clasping his hands together as the mist rolled back in. Naruto scanned the surroundings, searching for him, unaware that Zabuza was silently emerging from the fog like a predator. Sorry kid, no hard feelings. Naruto barely turned his head when Zabuza swung his massive blade. XXX Kakashi finished creating his last clone and noticed the mist around Zabuza thinning slightly. What he saw next made him freeze in panic. Zabuza was aiming his sword at the one vulnerable spot everyone had, the neck. Naruto, Kakashi and the others shouted in unison. Cling! Zabuza's eyes widened as a purple hexagonal barrier suddenly appeared behind Naruto, blocking the strike. Naruto seized the moment to leap back, but the moment his foot touched the ground, he sank to one knee. Zabuza's gaze shifted to Naruto's neck, where the seal had spread up to his eyes. But then the seal started to peel away like paper, and the protective barrier shattered like glass. That's an impressive seal you got there, kid, Zabuza remarked, but looks like you can only use it once. Naruto cursed under his breath and tried to stand but collapsed again. You're right, Naruto said weakly. That seal only works a single time. After that, it falls apart on its own. Then I have to draw a new one. Zabuza chuckled as he advanced, each step filling Naruto with a fear he'd never known, the creeping approach of death. For the first time, Naruto's life flashed before his eyes, and what he saw saddened him deeply. Maybe this is how it should be, he thought. I've had so few people who cared, and one of them died because of me. Maybe I should just accept it. But then, memories of Hinata visiting him every day flooded his mind. How she always checked on him, staying behind when he said he was fine. He recalled Team 7's care and felt confused by these memories, as if his mind was fighting itself. Suddenly, he wasn't sure he wanted to die anymore. Before Zabuza could raise his blade, 2 fireballs and a volley of kunai with explosive tags forced him back. Naruto looked up to see his whole team standing protectively before him, with Tazuna nearby holding what looked like a mallet. What is? Naruto barely got the words out before pushing off to stand, only to falter and be caught by Tazuna. Because, Naruto, we're a team, we watch out for each other, Kakashi said, with Sakura and Sasuke nodding in agreement. Now rest, you need it. Naruto closed his eyes and let darkness take him. You'll pay for what you did to him, Kakashi warned Zabuza, voice cold and hard. Zabuza laughed. I did nothing, his clan's always been a reckless bunch. He sneered. Seeing Team 7's confused faces, Zabuza decided to taunt them further and gave a signal to someone hidden in the trees. You don't know anything about him, do you? Let me enlighten you. But before he could speak further, 3 senbon flew out of nowhere, striking him straight in the back of the neck. Team 7 stared, stunned, as Zabuza crumpled to the ground. Before anyone could react, a ninja wearing a hunter-nin mask appeared next to the fallen man. Thanks, said a strange voice, oddly feminine. Without you, I wouldn't have had the chance. He picked up Zabuza's limp form and made a tiger hand sign. Before I go, you should check on your friend, he doesn't look well. Farewell. Then he vanished in a puff of smoke. Team 7 snapped out of their shock as Tazuna spoke anxiously. He's sweating and shaking, that can't be good. Tazuna said, looking worriedly at Naruto, who was pale. Damn, he pushed too much chakra, Kakashi thought as he approached Naruto. He's suffering severe chakra exhaustion. Kakashi explained, while forcing Naruto's mouth open to feed him some pills, though inside he was pondering what went wrong. I thought the Kyuubi would help prevent this, but Naruto overused the seals. They're draining chakra faster than he can replenish it, or faster than the seals can regulate the Kyuubi's chakra. He'll be okay, right, Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked fearfully, watching Naruto lie helpless. Kakashi gave a reassuring smile. Yeah, he should be fine, Naruto's always full of energy. But privately he worried, if he keeps this up, he might kill himself with these seals. He muttered softly. Sasuke looked between Naruto and Kakashi with confusion. What did Zabuza mean when he said Naruto's clan was reckless? I don't know, I've never heard of the Uzumaki clan. Kakashi lied. Not entirely, he knew of a powerful clan thought nearly extinct, but had little info. Tazuna returned from the forest with vines and 2 long wooden poles. We can make a stretcher for him, Kakashi nodded. Once ready, they laid Naruto on it and began walking down to the water with Tazuna, Sasuke, and Sakura carrying him. Hang in there, Naruto. We'll get you somewhere safe, Kakashi thought, watching Naruto's limp form. XXX Zabuza awoke in bed with Haku tending his wounds. Noticing the change in breath, Haku saw he was awake. Zabuza-sama, Haku said respectfully. How do you feel? Zabuza just grunted and turned away. Soon after, the door opened, and Gato entered flanked by 2 sword-bearing bodyguards. Can't believe it without seeing it. Seems the rumors are true. Gato sneered as he approached. The great Zabuza beaten by kids. He reached out toward Zabuza but was stopped by a firm grip. Gato turned to see Haku glaring fiercely. You won't touch him, Haku warned, squeezing Gato's arm tightly until bones cracked. Ahhh, Gato yelled, pulling his arm free. Just don't let it happen again, got it, Zabuza? He turned sharply and left with his guards, slamming the door. Haku stood and headed toward the window carrying a basket. Where are you going? Zabuza asked. We're out of herbs, I need to get more. Haku said, pausing, but before Haku could move, Zabuza grabbed his clothes. Sit down. I need to tell you about that blonde kid I fought. Zabuza insisted, trying to sit up despite Haku's protests. My injuries can wait. This is more important. He then began to tell Haku about Naruto and his clan. XXX Naruto slowly opened his eyes, feeling himself gently rocked. He sat up as the blankets slipped away. What happened? He groaned, only to get a sudden hard punch from Sakura. Ow, why'd you do that? He yelped. For making us worry, dummy. Sakura scolded as Kakashi peeked over, seeing the commotion. Noticing Naruto was awake, Kakashi carefully approached the small boat. Naruto, how do you feel? Kakashi asked firmly. Fine, just a headache. No sooner had Naruto spoken than he leaned over and vomited what little food he'd eaten. Okay, scratch that, not feeling so great. Nausea is normal after heavy chakra exhaustion. Kakashi said, holding up 3 fingers. How many fingers do you see? Naruto squinted. 3. He answered, then laid back down, stomach still aching. You'll be okay, take it easy today, no stress. Kakashi advised, returning to his book with a sly grin. Yeah, this sounds like a blast. Naruto muttered as they neared dry land, unaware of what awaited them. When the boat touched the dock, Tazuna stepped out and assisted Naruto. Naruto's legs wobbled as his feet hit solid ground, and he grabbed the edge of the boat to steady himself. Damn it, Naruto muttered, finally understanding what it felt like to be as helpless as a newborn kitten. Tazuna kept a supportive hand on him, sticking close in case Naruto stumbled again. You gonna be okay, kid? Tazuna asked, concern evident in his voice. I'll manage, geezer, Naruto replied. When he noticed Tazuna's eyebrow twitch at the nickname, Naruto let out a quiet chuckle. Let's get to my house before I leave you to limp the rest of the way on your own, Tazuna said, irritation creeping into his tone from the age-related jab. XXX once the boat docked, Tazuna helped Naruto step out. As soon as Naruto's feet met the ground, he nearly collapsed. Damn it, Naruto cursed, feeling the weight of his weakness. Tazuna caught him again, staying nearby in case it happened once more. You all right, kid? He asked gently. I'll live, old-timer, Naruto said, laughing softly when he noticed Tazuna's expression tight. Let's just get to my place before I make you crawl, Tazuna snapped back, voice tinged with annoyance. XXX Tsunami, Inari, Tazuna called as he stepped into his home. A young woman peeked around the corner and ran toward him, throwing her arms around his shoulders. Dad, I was so scared. I thought Gato might go to any lengths to stop you, Tsunami said, worry lingering in her eyes. I'm all right thanks to this group. He motioned to the team behind him. This is Tsunami and this, he glanced around as a boy descended the stairs, is Inari. It's nice to meet you. I'm Kakashi Headache, the silver-haired man said, gesturing to his students as he introduced them. Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunami's eyes briefly widened at Naruto's surname before her expression returned to normal, though Naruto didn't miss the momentary reaction. His annoyance started to bubble. Okay, what's the deal with my last name? Naruto asked, clearly irritated by the reactions he kept getting. Sorry, I just thought I'd heard it somewhere before, Tsunami responded quietly, offering a timid smile. I'll go prepare dinner. Dad, come help me, there's something I need to show you. Tazuna looked puzzled but followed her. Once they were out of earshot, Tsunami turned sharply to face her father. Do you know who that boy is? She asked cautiously. He's the one who protected me, Tazuna began, but was cut off by a light smack to the head with a wooden spoon. No, listen, Tsunami said with a sigh. You used to tell me stories about a hidden village, and the powerful clan that once lived there. Think back. She dragged him to a locked cabinet, opened it, and pulled out a large book, pressing it to his chest. Maybe this will help. Tazuna looked down and saw the spiral crest. Suddenly, a flood of memories returned about the Uzumaki clan. I don't believe it, he whispered, peeking at Naruto through a crack in the door. Recalling all the strange sealing techniques Naruto had used, realization dawned. He really is in Uzumaki. Tsunami rolled her eyes at how long it took. You could have figured that out just from his name, she said, glancing at Naruto. What should we do? Tazuna paused, then said, we might as well show him that old structure no one's been able to open. Tsunami nodded. Clutching the thick book, Tazuna returned to the dining area. As Naruto paused mid-bite, Tazuna dropped the book into his lap. What the hell was that for? Naruto shouted, startled. We're going for a walk, Tazuna said firmly, grabbing Naruto by the wrist. And why exactly? Kakashi asked, eyes narrowing in suspicion. If I'm right, Tazuna said, we're standing next to the last living heir of one of the strongest clans this region has ever seen. With that, he led Naruto toward the door. The rest of the group followed. XXX outside, eyes followed them as they made their way to the town's oldest structure. Though time had barely worn it down, no one had been able to access it for decades. Only a few boards were missing, and the color had faded slightly. What's going on, Tazuna? An old man asked from his porch. I'm not sure, but I think we've finally found the one we've been waiting for, Tazuna answered. The townspeople surrounded Naruto, watching him with curiosity. As Naruto gazed at the building, an odd sense of calm washed over him. Try opening the door, someone urged. Though he hesitated, something urged Naruto forward until he stood before it. Glancing back at the crowd holding their breath, he swallowed hard and reached for the handle. The second his fingers touched it, black markings shot up his arm and across his body. Naruto cried out in pain and dropped to his knees. Kakashi tried to push through the crowd, but couldn't move fast enough. Then it stopped. The markings faded and a loud click echoed. A tense silence followed. Naruto stood and gave the door a gentle push. It swung open with ease. The Uzumaki clan lives on, someone shouted. Cheers erupted around him, but Naruto's attention was locked on what lay beyond. The interior was caked in dust, yet spirals marked every surface. As Naruto stepped inside, the villagers waited behind. The place looked like it had been looted long ago. Torn cloth, shattered glass, and old blood stains lay scattered around. Dropping to his knees, Naruto began pounding the floor in frustration. Every time I get closer to the truth, it's ripped away again, he thought as tears fell. His final strike caused a hidden panel in the floor to shift, revealing stairs leading downward. Naruto descended carefully, finding an underground shrine. Dusty portraits lined the walls. He wiped one clean and stared at a stern man in samurai armor, two curved swords at his side. His nameplate read, Arashi Uzumaki, First Hurricane Shadow. Nearby was an unfinished portrait of a red-haired man with a warm smile. Deeper inside, Naruto found a note and a scroll resting on a pedestal. As he touched them, black markings surged across his skin again. He endured until the pain subsided. The note was stained with blood. Naruto opened it and began reading. To the one who bears the Uzumaki name, my name is Uzushio Uzumaki, the second hurricane shadow of the village hidden in the whirling tides. I don't have much time left, so I'll be brief. You may be the last of our clan. Everything here is your legacy. This is where we began. Inside the scroll, unseal the storage tag to find one of our Fuinjutsu manuals. Most were destroyed, but I salvaged enough to preserve one. Use it well. Our enemies are many, never let your guard down. I can't write much more, they're coming. Just know this, your family watches over you always. Naruto glanced at the note one final time before carefully folding it and slipping it into his pocket. He then reached down to pick up the book and scroll as if they were precious relics, because to him, they were. As he stepped out of the room, he cast one last look over his shoulder before leaving. The sun's brightness made Naruto squint as he exited the old building. The moment he stepped outside, a crowd of villagers gathered around him, eager to touch him or shake his hand. Spotting his teammates near Tazuna and his daughter, Naruto made his way over, trying to avoid the crowd, and greeted them with a smile. How are you feeling? Tazuna asked, returning the smile. Like I belong, Naruto replied. And with those simple words, the villagers hoisted him into the air, cheering for the Uzumaki lineage. XXX. After a while, Naruto managed to slip away from the group by saying he needed some time to adjust. He wandered aimlessly, staring up at the sky, until he suddenly tripped over someone. He sat up and found himself looking at a stunningly beautiful person. Sorry about that. I should have been more careful, Naruto said. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. The stranger's eyes widened at the name, a flicker of recognition flashing across them before it vanished. I'm Haku, came the response, followed by a soft laugh. And I'm a guy. Naruto was utterly stunned. "So what brings you out here?" he asked, still chuckling in disbelief. "I needed some time to think," Naruto admitted. "Turns out my clan came from somewhere near here." Haku feigned surprise. "Oh really? What clan might that be?" Naruto leaned back into the grass and avoided the question. "Can't really say." Haku tilted his head. "Let me guess." "The Uzumaki clan." Naruto immediately sat up, a guarded expression on his face. He recalled what was written in the letter from Uzushio, "Never trust too easily." The Uzumaki name had many enemies. "Relax. I have no issues with your clan," Haku said calmly. Naruto hesitantly settled back down, still visibly cautious. Sensing the tension, Haku tried to shift the conversation. "So tell me, what do you want to become? Is there something you'd protect above all else?" he asked, curious about Naruto's resolve. Naruto thought deeply before answering. "I want to become Hokage," he said with a grin. "And yeah, I've got people I care about. I'd do anything to protect them. How about you?" Haku studied Naruto's determined eyes. "There's someone I cherish. My dream is to support that person and help them realize their goal," Haku said softly. "What are you doing out here?" Naruto asked again. "Gathering herbs to help my important person recover," Haku replied, resuming his search. "I could lend a hand," Naruto offered as Haku looked through the underbrush. Haku considered it for a moment, then agreed. He showed Naruto the plant he needed, and Naruto created 3 shadow clones to search. In minutes, the basket was overflowing with herbs. "Thanks, Naruto," Haku said with a respectful bow before walking off. Naruto turned back toward the village, a smile tugging at his lips. As he entered the village, Naruto noticed how cheerful everyone seemed. Despite having so little, the people here eagerly offered him whatever they could spare. He gently refused, knowing they needed it more. Sakura and Kakashi were genuinely happy Naruto had uncovered his clan's origin. Sasuke, however, kept his usual blank expression, though his eyes occasionally darkened at the constant praise Naruto received. Sasuke couldn't understand why Naruto was being celebrated. Ever since the truth about Naruto's heritage came out, he was constantly surrounded by admiration. Naruto had been beaming ever since returning from the old residence, drawing crowds of people, young and old, who wanted to speak with him, the last of a legendary bloodline. With no urgent mission, Kakashi decided it was the perfect time to start chakra control training. Naruto's smile faded slightly. "What's the point of this?" Naruto asked, sounding unenthused. "It'll help you regulate your chakra better and avoid injuries from overuse." Naruto looked away with a frustrated pout. Ever since he'd nearly passed out from chakra exhaustion, Kakashi had been monitoring him like a hawk. Anytime Naruto tried a new seal or technique, Kakashi was there, watching closely. Once, Naruto got annoyed and asked why. "Because I don't want you to get hurt," Kakashi said flatly. "Today's lesson. Climb a tree." Everyone stared at Kakashi like he'd lost it. Naruto and Sasuke scoffed at how simple it sounded. "Without using your hands," he added. Their amusement vanished instantly. "You're kidding," Naruto complained. With a sigh, Kakashi walked to a tree and channeled chakra to his feet. He placed one foot on the bark and walked up casually. "Still think it's impossible?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. "You have to concentrate chakra to your souls and keep it steady. Too much and you'll break the surface, too little and you'll slip. If you fall, mark the spot with a kunai." The trio exchanged glances and rushed toward their own trees. As expected, Naruto was the first to fall. He used too little chakra. Sasuke overcompensated and cracked the bark. "This isn't so hard," came a voice above. They looked up to see Sakura comfortably sitting on a high branch. "Well, looks like our only female member has the best chakra control," Kakashi noted with a smile. He saw the determined fire ignite in both Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke gave it another go and managed to climb slightly higher. Sasuke fell again from chakra imbalance, which didn't surprise Kakashi, but Naruto's fall did. Naruto's next step caused the entire tree to split. He hit the ground, dazed, and looked up to see the tree's upper half crashing toward him. Reaching for his neck bandages, he was saved at the last second by a massive dog that tackled him out of the way. "Try not to destroy the forest," Kakashi joked, helping Naruto up. Naruto groaned and moved to another tree. Despite repeated failures, he was improving. Kakashi leaned against a trunk and pulled out his book, watching as his students trained. Sakura rested after a few climbs. Sasuke and Naruto kept grinding away. Sakura glanced at Sasuke, but when he shot her a look, she held back. It wasn't harsh, but clearly said he didn't want help. Naruto lay on the ground thinking. 3 steps up, 2 steps down, he muttered, analyzing his progress. Then he remembered Sakura's success and got an idea. Sakura was idly standing around when she noticed a shadow loom over her. Naruto stood there looking a little sheepish. Hey, Sakura, mind giving me a hand? She was about to refuse but then paused. He's asking me for help, she realized. All right, I'll help you, she said, surprising herself. Kakashi looked up from his book and smiled beneath his mask. Looks like he's finally getting it, Kakashi thought. Sakura patiently explained what Naruto was doing wrong. He took her advice and gave the tree another try. This time, he climbed nearly as far as Sasuke before slipping, but landed gracefully. Dinner's ready, Tsunami's voice rang through the trees. That got everyone's attention, and they all began heading back toward the house. Everyone gathered around the table, watching with a mix of amusement and disbelief as the blonde devoured his food like he hadn't eaten in weeks. Sakura finally snapped and smacked Naruto on the head. What was that for? He groaned. You're acting like some kind of wild animal, she replied with a frown. Can't you slow down? Sorry, no can do. I need to finish up and get back to that tree-walking training, Naruto mumbled, his head already buried in the bowl again. The group swore the food was actively trying to flee from his assault. Sakura sighed, half exasperated, and Kakashi chuckled softly beneath his mask. Then, a voice cut through the air. Just look at yourself, Inari said, his tone laced with frustration. Naruto lifted his head from the bowl, wiping his mouth with a napkin. His playful expression faded in an instant. Inari, either unaware or uncaring, kept going. You call yourself a shinobi, but you're just a joke. You think you can take on someone like Gato, he'll just bring in stronger fighters. Even if you're from a well-known clan, you're no match, so why don't you just give up? That was the last straw. Naruto's face turned stony, and his blue eyes gleamed with icy resolve. And look at you, he said, his voice cold and emotionless. Crying like a child. Think your life's been hard. I lived every day looking over my shoulder, wondering if someone would come after me. I won't lie, you've had it tough. But at least you had your family. Me, I had no one. The first person who ever showed he cared for me died right in front of me, so don't whine to me about suffering. My life's been a nightmare since day one. If you're unhappy, do something about it. Don't just sit and sob. With that, Naruto stood and headed for the door, leaving a stunned Inari behind. You didn't have to go that far, Sakura said, standing up as well. She opened her mouth to say more but froze when Naruto turned to face them. His eyes had lost their usual spark. Without another word, he left and closed the door quietly behind him, casting the room into a heavy silence. Inari got up and wandered toward the porch. Kakashi followed. You know, Kakashi said gently, sitting beside Inari, that was Naruto's way of trying to motivate you. Why? Inari sniffled. Why does he care so much? The Jonin exhaled slowly. That's just how he is. Back home, people treat him terribly. He could have let it crush him, but instead he decided to fight back and make something of himself. He chose to rise above it, and he's never looked back. In all the time I've known him, I've only seen him cry once, and that was when someone very close to him died. But even then, he used that pain to grow stronger. He wasn't trying to hurt you, he just wanted you to stand up for yourself. Inari slowly wiped his tears and gave a faint smile. Kakashi stood up and watched him retreat back inside. Naruto was deep in the woods, scribbling seals on slips of paper to replace old ones when a rustling behind him made him pause. He turned to find Inari standing there, looking a bit sheepish. Hey, sorry for what I said earlier, Inari muttered awkwardly. No need to apologize, Naruto replied calmly. Let's just move on. Inari nodded and peeked over Naruto's shoulder. What are you working on? Trying to tweak one of my barrier seals for longer use, Naruto explained, tucking the papers away into a scroll. Come on, let's go grab something to eat. Inari smiled and followed Naruto back home. Later, Naruto sat beneath a tree, noticing he was nearly at the top. That morning, his team had gone ahead, leaving him to guard the house in case of an attack. He used the time to work on his training and left a shadow clone behind just in case. His eyes snapped open when the clone's memories surged into him. Damn it, he muttered and bolted for the house. Nothing personal, but Gato doesn't want that bridge finished, Waraji sneered, pressing his blade to Inari's throat. So be a good kid and cooperate. Tsunami stood frozen, eyes darting between the thugs. She hesitantly nodded, but as one of them stepped forward, a massive shuriken whirled through the air, forcing him to jump back. A silhouette appeared against the sun. "Who the hell are you?" Zori demanded. "Me, I'm nobody," came the flat reply. A flash of lightning hit Zori square in the chest. Waraji swung his blade at Inari, but it never connected. A shimmering blue shield sprang up and deflected it effortlessly. "You really thought I'd leave them unprotected?" The same lifeless voice said. "Before I left, I placed seals on both of them." Waraji turned, only to be knocked out cold by a spinning kick to the face. Tsunami's relief faded as she noticed the usual grin missing from Naruto's face. Only a grim determination remained. Naruto formed a hand seal, and 2 clones appeared. "Get those 2 out of here and tie them up." The clones nodded and followed the order. Once the attackers were gone, Naruto allowed a small smile to return and looked at the 2. "You both okay?" They nodded in unison. "Good. I'm heading to the bridge, the others probably need backup. I'm leaving some clones here, just in case." 2 more shadow clones popped into existence before Naruto sprinted away. At the bridge, construction was underway until a thick fog rolled in. Workers paused, sensing something was wrong. "This isn't normal," Kakashi warned Sakura and Sasuke. "Stay close to Tazuna and protect him." 2 figures appeared from the mist. "We meet again, Kakashi," Zabuza grinned. "But where's the blonde brat?" Kakashi said nothing, lifting his headband to reveal his Sharingan. "Fine, I'll deal with you instead." Zabuza hefted his blade and drove it into the bridge. "Haku, handle the others." Haku nodded and rushed forward. Zabuza noticed Sasuke's slight trembling. "Looks like he's scared." "Nope, I'm just ready for some fun," Sasuke replied, smirking as he rushed in to meet Haku's charge. Their fists collided, but Haku quickly grabbed Sasuke's arm and began weaving one-handed signs. "Apologies, but I've been asked to remove you," Haku said calmly before stomping the ground. Water style. 1,000 flying water needles. Dozens of senbon formed from the mist and hurtled towards Sasuke. An explosion of water followed. Haku leaped back, watching the splash fade. But before he could react, Sasuke landed a kick to his face. "He's fast," Zabuza thought as he clashed with Kakashi. His swing aimed to slice through Sasuke, but Kakashi blocked it with a kunai. "I thought you wanted me," Kakashi said coolly. "Oh, I do. And I'll gladly send you to the afterlife," Zabuza growled, pressing forward with his blade. Sasuke faced Haku again, both now staring one another down. "You're quick, Uchiha," Haku acknowledged. "So you know my clan?" "Yes. Zabuza-sama made sure I studied clan traits. The Uchiha wear the red fan and have dark hair and eyes." He formed a tiger seal. "But even your speed won't help you here. Ice style. Demonic ice mirror prison." Ice mirrors erupted all around, forming a dome. Haku vanished into one, his reflection appearing in all. "This is my strongest jutsu. You won't escape." Sasuke launched a fireball, hitting one of the mirrors, but it emerged unscathed. "That all you've got?" The many voices taunted. They all pulled senbon. "Now it's my turn." Light burst from the dome, blinding Sasuke. Needles struck from all sides, driving him to his knee as the light faded. "I can't track him," Sasuke murmured under his breath. His gaze darted upward, catching the blurred reflections of Haku preparing another attack. "Will you surrender now?" Haku's voice echoed from every direction, further fueling Sasuke's rage. "I'm an Uchiha. I won't quit that easily," Sasuke growled, yanking senbon from his limbs. Haku exhaled softly, displeased with where this was heading. "Forgive me for what comes next, Uchiha," Haku muttered as he poised for another strike. Just as a kunai lodged into one of the mirrors, its attached explosive tag pulsing ominously. The sudden blast was far more potent than usual. "My apologies for crashing your duel," a sharp voice cut in. Haku turned to see Naruto standing beside Sasuke, face set in determination. "Idiot, why are you here? You were supposed to guard the others," Sasuke snapped. "I figured I'd stop this guy from murdering you," Naruto replied coolly. "And don't worry, I left the others well protected." Back on the bridge, Zabuza, impatient, glanced toward Haku's fight. When his eyes landed on Naruto, his lips curled into a pleased sneer. "Well, well," he grunted, parrying Kakashi's kunai. "Looks like I've found a new target." Kakashi blinked in confusion at the sudden shift in Zabuza's focus. He followed Zabuza's gaze and froze. "Why is Naruto here?" Kakashi wondered, stunned. "Looks like I'm getting that rematch after all." Zabuza shouted toward Naruto, though the boy's attention remained on Haku. "Today just keeps getting better, don't you think, Kakashi?" he added mockingly. Kakashi's reply was to attack. Why did you interfere? Haku asked, voice echoing from a nearby mirror. Because even if he's a jerk, Naruto began, drawing a furious glare from Sasuke, he's still my teammate and friend. I won't let you hurt him. Haku's eyes widened slightly. He hadn't expected Naruto to recognize him. You knew it was me, he asked softly. Your voice and hair give you away, Naruto replied with a faint smile, sliding into a battle stance, feet spread, one forward, one behind, arms raised and hands semi-clenched. Now where were we? Oh, right, fighting. His tone had turned icy, devoid of warmth. Sasuke stared, startled by Naruto's sudden shift in demeanor. Haku lifted his senbon. Sasuke tore his gaze from Naruto and formed a tiger seal. Naruto's smirk deepened. Meanwhile, Kakashi barely ducked under Zabuza's massive blade, only to be flung back by a crushing kick to the chest. You're slipping, Kakashi, Zabuza jeered. Worried about your little genin? Don't be, once I finish you, I'll send them after. You can all reunite in hell. Gritting his teeth, Kakashi surged forward. Zabuza completed a string of hand signs, vanishing into the mist just as the final tiger seal faded from view. I have to win this, Kakashi vowed as his thoughts went to his students. Naruto hit the ground hard after another failed attempt to shatter Haku's mirrors. He scrambled up, slapping 2 special tags onto a mirror, finally destroying one. But it was instantly replaced. Damn it, he cursed internally. None of my seals work on this. My Tenrin doesn't break through and Byakurai just rebounds. Only my explosive tags have any effect. He glanced at Sasuke, who was panting heavily. This can't go on much longer. We'll either run out of chakra or get picked off, Naruto thought. So, got a plan, loser? Sasuke asked, pulling Naruto from his thoughts. You're actually asking me for a plan, Naruto said with mock offense. That's rich. Well, why not use your secret sealing crap, Sasuke grumbled. Out of tags and the ones I have left won't work here, Naruto said flatly, earning another glare. As Sasuke fumed, Naruto spoke again. But, have you noticed something? Noticed what? He's taking longer to restore his mirrors, Naruto said, gesturing toward one he'd just demolished. And that helps how? Sasuke asked, puzzled. If I'm right, it means he's burning through chakra faster than he can replenish it, Naruto explained. So we just need to outlast him. Sasuke's eyes lit up with a wicked grin. All right. What do you need? First, we make him burn through a lot more chakra. Naruto formed a cross seal and summoned 4 shadow clones, handing each his last explosive tags. Your job is to protect them while they get in position, he instructed. Sasuke nodded, brandishing a kunai. Haku observed their quiet exchange and frowned. So they've figured out the flaw in my jutsu, but they're still not done. I have more tricks. As the clones scattered, Haku lunged toward one, but had to dodge a fireball. He retaliated with senbon, only to watch as the clones activated chakra barrier seals. They vanished after planting their explosives. Showtime, Naruto grinned darkly, forming the tiger seal. The resulting blast shook the bridge, drawing everyone's attention. A massive fireball now blazed where Haku's dome had been. Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi called out in alarm. 3 figures leapt from the flames, 2 clearly being Sasuke and Naruto, both scorched but unharmed. Haku stood across from them, mask cracked but intact. Shit, Naruto hissed. He dropped the jutsu before I could set them off. His glare burned into Haku. Sasuke readied his stance beside Naruto. They locked eyes with Haku, expressions steel hard. Why fight when victory is impossible? Haku asked, genuinely curious. Because if we quit, innocent people will die, Naruto said flatly. We don't have the right to surrender. 4 more clones materialized and Naruto charged. Haku clapped his hands together. Hayaten, glacial surge. Water circled behind him, morphing into blue frost that surged forward. The wave swallowed Naruto's clones whole, freezing them inside a massive ice block. This is... Haku started, smirking, before Naruto's foot slammed into his jaw, launching him into the air. How? Haku wondered, glancing at the ice block, only to realize it contained nothing but clones. He sent them in first to test me. A shadow fell over him. He looked up to see Sasuke descending, tiger seal formed and smirking. Fire style, great fireball, Sasuke shouted, unleashing a massive blaze. But there were no screams, just steam. When the flames died down, Haku had vanished, replaced by a melting ice clone. Like my ice substitute, a soft voice whispered behind them. Sasuke turned with alarm in his eyes, but was met with a brutal punch from Haku. Before he could hit the bridge and get further injured, Naruto caught him mid-fall. Please just give up, I don't wish to harm you, Haku said in a calm, respectful voice. That voice only enraged both Naruto and Sasuke. Sasuke shoved away from Naruto and launched himself at Haku again. Haku merely watched as Sasuke came at him, then swiftly flicked 10 senbon toward Naruto. Naruto's eyes widened. He realized he couldn't dodge all of them in time. Damn it, Sasuke thought as he suddenly veered his path. Naruto raised his arms to shield his vital spots, but the sting never came. Looking up, he found Sasuke standing before him, the needles embedded in his back. Why? I don't know. My body just reacted, Sasuke muttered as he slumped into Naruto's arms. I can't die, not yet. I still need to kill him. His breath slowed as he spoke, his eyes drifting shut. Naruto, shaken, saw flashes of Uruka's death replace Sasuke's face in his mind. Not again. Naruto's inner scream echoed as he lowered Sasuke gently. I'll destroy you, he roared, spinning to face Haku. His once blue eyes now glowed crimson with slit pupils. Haku tensed, sensing an immense demonic force erupting from Naruto. What is that? Haku wondered as Naruto vanished and reappeared before him in a flash. Zabuza swung at Kakashi and missed by a hair's breadth, but then his eyes widened as a powerful chakra flared nearby. What in the hell is that? Zabuza asked, stunned by the overwhelming energy radiating out. Damn, is the seal broken? Kakashi's brows furrowed, but he soon exhaled. No, the seal's intact, but some of the Nine-Tails chakra leaked out. I'd suppress it if I could, but this fight has to end now. Kakashi unrolled a scroll and turned back to Zabuza. Let's wrap this up, Zabuza. We both have better things to do, Kakashi said evenly. Bold words for someone blind in the mist, Zabuza scoffed. I don't need to see you. Kakashi sliced his palm and pressed it to the scroll. They will. A moment later, the ground erupted, and a cry of pain was muffled as ninja hounds burst from below. The mist began to clear, revealing Zabuza trapped beneath the snarling pack. It ends now, Kakashi declared as lightning surged around his right hand. Why'd you do it? Naruto shouted, slamming his fist into Haku's face. Haku fell but stood calmly. I did it for my purpose, Haku said with a faint smile. To realize Zabuza-sama's dream, he gave me a reason to live when I had none. Haku began recounting the horrors of Kirigakura's bloodline purges, his family's death, and how Zabuza saved him. By the end, Naruto could only look at him in silence, filled with sympathy. Take my life, Haku requested. Naruto froze, stunned by the request. His mouth opened slightly, confusion plain in his eyes. I'm just a failed tool. I'll only hold Zabuza-sama back now. Ending me would be a kindness, Haku said. Naruto took a hesitant step forward, but both he and Haku suddenly felt a sharp jolt of lightning-tinged chakra. Zabuza-sama, Haku cried before vanishing in a puff of smoke. Damn it, Naruto cursed internally, running after him, only to stumble, lightheaded and unsteady. I can't catch up. Goodbye, Zabuza, Kakashi said with grim finality, hurling his charged arm forward. Zabuza didn't move, he knew he couldn't dodge. But the strike never landed. Zabuza's eyes opened to see Haku standing between them. Kakashi's hand didn't pierce either of them, it shattered a purple barrier instead. His Chidori fizzled out mid-attack. Kakashi looked at his arm in confusion and spotted a sealing tag. Damn, my chakra flow's being blocked, he realized. Zabuza smirked, realizing he had an opening, but a massive shuriken embedded itself in front of him before he could strike. On it stood Naruto, glaring with fire in his eyes. Sakura gasped when she saw Naruto but froze when she realized he was alone. Her eyes darted behind him to see Sasuke lying still. She ran to him with Tazuna trailing close. How could you treat Haku like that? Naruto demanded, voice cold. What's it to you? Zabuza retorted. Because he told me you saved him. Someone truly evil wouldn't have done that, Naruto replied, voice lower now. Zabuza snorted. He's nothing more than a tool. Haku bowed his head, his face unreadable. The sight made Naruto's blood boil. He's not a damn tool, Naruto barked. He's human. You can pretend all you want, but you cared for him. Why hide it? Zabuza said nothing. Naruto continued. He told me about the time he fell chasing a rabbit. You caught it and gave it to him. A demon wouldn't do that. You do care, Zabuza, so why deny it? Zabuza started to answer but was cut off by slow, mocking applause. Gato, Zabuza snarled, dropping to one knee. Why are you here? Didn't I mention? I don't need you anymore, Gato said with a cruel grin. Bring me the masked one. I want to kill him myself. His words made Zabuza grip his sword tighter. Naruto stepped forward, preparing to fight, but Kakashi noticed Naruto's labored breathing. "I'll slice you in two before you touch him," Zabuza shouted, lunging toward Gato's men. Haku followed, but Naruto summoned two shadow clones to hold him back. "You're running on fumes," Naruto wheezed. "You'll just be a burden to him out there." Haku stayed back as Zabuza rampaged through the crowd, cutting down multiple enemies with each swing. Spears and blades pierced him, but he pushed on. He dropped his sword when his shoulder was impaled, switching to a kunai and driving it into Gato's chest. "You were wrong, Gato," Zabuza rasped. "I'm no demon. But where I'm headed, there's plenty of them. I'll fit right in. You're in for a nightmare." Zabuza released the kunai, watching Gato tumble into the sea. Turning to face the mob, Zabuza sighed and collapsed. Haku rushed to his side. He stared at Zabuza's broken body, stunned, while Zabuza chuckled weakly. "Didn't think it'd feel like this," he murmured. "Zabuza-sama," Haku's tears began to fall. "Ninja, don't cry," Zabuza scolded softly. "We're trained not to feel." "I'm sorry," Haku whispered, crying anyway. Zabuza gave him one last glance. "Live, Haku, I don't care how, but don't come with me. I have no use for broken tools. Don't mourn me." "Got it?" He shut his eyes, never to open them again. Sakura's tears weren't for Sasuke's death. She wept because he had survived. "What happened to me?" Sasuke rasped weakly. Clutching Sasuke's chilly hand with trembling fingers, Sakura explained through her sobs. "That masked boy, Haku, he put you into a fake death state," she said, voice cracking. "Those needles paralyzed you completely. You looked lifeless." Sasuke's mind drifted to his last memory, something that unsettled him deeply. He had seen Naruto cloaked in an ominous red aura that filled him with dread. On a quiet hill bathed in sunlight stood a modest grave, adorned with flowers and a massive blade lodged in the soil. Haku knelt before it, tears spilling silently. Naruto approached and gently rested a hand on Haku's shoulder. "He didn't mean the things he said," Naruto said softly, catching Haku off guard. "He said them to push you forward, not to tie you to the past. I understand how it feels to lose someone like a father." Haku looked at him, eyes clouded with confusion. Naruto went on. "I had someone like that, Uruka-sensei. He was more than just a teacher to me. He died protecting me after I got caught in a trap. Ever since then, I vowed to grow stronger, to ensure no one else suffers or dies because of me. Holding onto the past only adds to the pain, Haku. Honor his memory by living on." Naruto offered his hand. "It was good to meet you. Maybe we'll cross paths again someday." Haku looked at the offered hand for a moment before shaking it. Neither noticed Kakashi watching nearby, smiling faintly. Following Gato's defeat, the townspeople raided his stronghold and found resources to begin rebuilding. Within 3 days, the new bridge was finished. As Team 7 prepared to depart, 3 figures rushed toward them: Haku, Tsunami, and Inari. "Wait, Naruto," Inari called out. Naruto turned, spotting Tsunami cradling a small box. "You're really leaving?" Tsunami and Inari asked together. Inari burst into tears as Naruto nodded gently. "I'll return someday," Naruto promised, trying to soothe the boy. "Besides, someone's gotta keep an eye on Haku," he added, prompting a subtle grin from Haku. Tsunami handed Naruto the box. "Please accept this. Think of it as a gift and a reminder of your second home." Opening it, Naruto found a beautifully crafted cloak. Its hem depicted ocean waves, crashing against an unseen force. Blue and orange stitched patterns swirled together, forming a great maelstrom of wind and water on the back. The hood was bright orange, and the sleeves ended in jagged, worn-like fabric. What touched him most was the embroidered message: "Naruto Uzumaki, the Tempest of the Sea." Smiling warmly, Naruto hugged Tsunami. "Thank you. This means so much." Before he could leave, Haku stepped forward. "I found these in Gato's hidden chamber," Haku said, presenting dusty arm and leg guards. Naruto blinked in confusion. "Take a look at the symbol," Haku encouraged. Wiping off the dust, Naruto's breath caught. The insignia of the Uzumaki clan was etched on top, and beneath it a name, Uzushio Uzumaki. "But I thought that the Uzumaki were wiped out," Haku finished. "I don't know how Gato ended up with them. I hadn't seen them before this." Naruto held the gear close and nodded gratefully. "Thanks, Haku." The two smiled, and the team waved goodbye to the villagers. "We still haven't named the bridge," Tsunami said to her father. Tazuna grinned. "Then let's call it the Great Naruto Bridge." Cheers erupted from everyone. "Why'd you let Haku stay free?" Naruto asked Kakashi. Because he's not in any known bingo book, Kakashi replied, glancing up from his orange book. And, I saw how much he means to you. I know you would have fought to protect him. That's what real friends do. Unknown location, master, we bring unsettling news, a voice called from the shadows. What now? Rumbled a deep, irritated voice. Our operative in Nami no Kuni has sent a report, the speaker began, only to be suddenly seized by the throat. We wiped Uzu no Kuni off the map, the man growled, releasing his grip. My apologies, the messenger stammered, bowing low. Our source in the Land of Waves says a young Uzumaki accessed the ancestral vault. The giant man's fist smashed into the wall. When did this happen? He demanded. Roughly 2 days ago, the spy answered nervously. Kill 1 and 2 more surface, the brute muttered. Find this brat. End the Uzumaki line once and for all. The messenger vanished, leaving the man to seethe. I will erase their legacy completely, he vowed. His voice echoed like thunder across the silent chamber. Now donning the gifts from Tsunami and Haku, Naruto strode proudly through the streets of Konoha. His unique outfit drew an increasing number of stares and muttered insults. Sakura and Sasuke exchanged puzzled glances at the reactions. What's with the flashy getup? That's Uzumaki gear, came the whispers, snide remarks trailing in Naruto's wake. He kept his head down, trying to ignore it. Eventually, the jeers became unbearable, forcing Kakashi to order the team to take the rooftops. Kakashi glanced back. Naruto had pulled his hood low, hiding his face. You all right, Naruto? Kakashi asked. I'm fine, Naruto answered with a smile, though the cheer in his tone didn't fool Kakashi. How does he endure it? Kakashi wondered grimly. They reached the tower and entered the Hokage's office. Sarutobi glanced up and immediately took note of Naruto's new appearance. Hello, Hokage-sama, Naruto greeted, waving. Sarutobi's eyes focused on the guards Naruto wore. Recognition flashed in his expression. This isn't good, he thought. After Kakashi gave his report, Sarutobi handed him a scroll to review privately. Naruto, stay behind a moment, the Hokage said. Naruto blinked in surprise but nodded. As his teammates exited, he turned back. Where did you get those items? Sarutobi asked with a serious look. The cloak was a gift from the people in Nami, Naruto replied. The guards belonged to one of my ancestors. Uzushio Uzumaki, Sarutobi interrupted. Naruto, it might not be safe to wear those openly. Why, and how do you even know about them? Naruto asked, confused. Sarutobi sighed and rubbed his forehead, weighing his next words. Finally, he spoke. Long ago, the village hidden in whirlpools and the Leaf were allies. The Uzumaki and Senju clans were close. You know all this? Naruto questioned, his tone sharpening. Turning to the window, Sarutobi stared into the distance, remembering the past. I ordered all records of the Uzumaki clan and their village sealed away, he said quietly. Naruto stood frozen in disbelief. Why? Sarutobi looked back at him, sorrow in his eyes. I had my reasons, but I regret that choice more than you'll ever know. It was for your own safety. Hiruzen spoke calmly as he settled into his chair. Had it been known that you were a descendant of the Uzumaki clan, you'd have been hunted. Your clan inspired fear, Naruto, especially their leader Uzushio. He wasn't just the head of the clan. He was the protector and ruler of Uzushiagakure. He revolutionized sealing techniques into deadly forms of combat, to the point where no one could approach him within a dozen miles without being detected. That growing threat made rival villages nervous. Eventually, 2 of them joined forces and wiped Uzushiagakure off the map. Hiruzen paused, breathing in deeply before continuing. If memory serves, Uzushio was the first to be targeted so brutally he should have perished immediately. But despite a fatal injury, he stood his ground, defending his village until his final breath. If you're ever curious how terrifying an enraged Uzumaki can be, just look at Uzushio. Naruto's vivid blue eyes widened ever so slightly, absorbing every word. Just before his death, Uzushio activated a powerful seal called the Reverse 4 Symbols sealing technique. Instantly, only 400 out of 3,000 shinobi managed to escape being sealed within his own dying body. That technique alone built his reputation, and it was only a fraction of what he could do. Whoa, Naruto muttered in awe. He'd create clones that trapped enemies in seals, then triggered them to explode. He even had countermeasures for spies, sealing them within the woods encircling his homeland. But despite those merciless tactics in battle, he was a kind man and even had a child. Hiruzen noticed Naruto's eyes go wide and quickly added, "But not you, Naruto. His child lived long before your time, I believe during the second Hokage rule. So, you hid this all to keep me safe," Naruto said slowly. "Yes, but it seems my protection didn't reach as far as the land of waves." Hiruzen looked down at the papers on his desk. "I planned to tell you everything once you were older, but it looks like fate had other plans." Naruto lowered his gaze, guilt creeping in. "Wait." Hiruzen's head lifted as Naruto hesitated, discomfort visible on his face. "Who were my parents?" The third Hokage's lips tightened. He knew too well that more knowledge would bring more risk. "I honestly don't know, Naruto," he lied. "But what I can say for certain is that they loved you deeply, enough to give their lives to protect you." The words brought a small smile to Naruto's lips. "Now tell me, do you still want to keep wearing those clothes?" Naruto paused thoughtfully before grinning. "I want to honor my clan, so yes." Naruto beamed with his signature fox-like smile. "I'll make sure the world never forgets what Uzashio gave up. I'll make the Uzumaki name proud." That declaration made Hiruzen uneasy, but he smiled in return nonetheless. "All right. It's your decision, Naruto." Then something came to Hiruzen's mind. "Be cautious with those garments." Uzashio was infamous for embedding seals in armor, weapons, even clothing. If those belonged to him, it's likely they carry enchantments only he understood. Naruto gave a respectful nod and exited the office without another word. As the door shut, Hiruzen's expression darkened. "Stay alert, Naruto. I sense a storm is coming." He muttered quietly to himself. Deep underground, the only illumination came from candles flickering along stone walls. "Master, we have news." A masked figure with an avian motif spoke from one knee. A bandaged old man turned slowly, leaning on his cane. Though frail in appearance, he was not to be underestimated. "Report," Danzo commanded. "The boy is becoming more aware of his lineage." The masked operative raised his head slightly. "His development is accelerating." Danzo's gaze shifted to the nearest candle flame. "He must be monitored discreetly," he ordered coldly. "If we maintain surveillance, we may still shape him into a formidable asset." The ANBU operative bowed lower and vanished into the shadows. "Uzumaki Naruto, you'll serve well, but first you must be contained." "Perhaps it's time the council learned of your heritage," Danzo mused darkly. He stepped into the darkness, the echo of his cane fading into the long corridor. "All right, quick question," Kakashi said seriously. "The Chunin exams are being hosted here. Are you three interested in participating?" The squad exchanged glances before nodding firmly. "Good, you've got the rest of the day off. Make the most of it." And with a puff of smoke he disappeared. Silence followed until Sakura turned to Sasuke. "Wanna go hang out?" she asked hopefully, but Sasuke walked off without so much as a glance. Naruto noticed her disheartened look and suddenly had an idea. "Sakura," he said, prompting her to glance his way, slightly annoyed. "I'm thinking of hanging out with Hinata's team. Wanna come?" She thought for a moment and then shrugged. "Sure." Naruto led the way, Sakura trailing behind. He spotted Team 8 and gave a cheerful wave. They smiled in response, except for one. Hinata turned crimson and stared at the ground shyly. "Sounds like your mission was intense." Kiba grinned. "Wish ours had been that exciting." "I wouldn't call it enjoyable," Shino said flatly as he ate his melon. "Oh come on, Shino, you've never been in a serious fight." "That'd be awesome." Shino rolled his eyes subtly and continued eating. Kiba huffed and focused on his own meal. "So how have you been, Hinata?" Naruto asked brightly. "Learn anything new?" Hinata looked down, then back up. "Why yes. I've been working on my own technique but it still needs some improvements." Naruto's grin widened, and he gave a big thumbs up, causing Hinata's entire face, and even her neck, to flush a deeper red. "That's awesome. Can't wait to see it." She blushed harder, if such a thing was even possible. Suddenly, a loud scream echoed nearby, grabbing everyone's attention. "Hey, I said I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bump into you," Konohamaru shouted as he was lifted by his collar by a boy with face paint. "Yeah, well you'll be even sorrier." The boy was cut off as a cold, flat voice spoke. "I'd recommend letting him go." Now, a blonde teen pressed a kunai to the painted boy's throat. Others nearby looked ready to jump into the fray. The boy dropped Konohamaru, who darted behind Sakura. "You okay, Konohamaru?" the blonde asked, keeping his eyes locked on the aggressor. The boy nodded quickly. "Judging from that forehead protector, you're here for the exams." Naruto's gaze sharpened. I told you not to cause problems, Kankuro. A chilling voice came from behind Naruto. A blonde girl clutched a massive fan and gasped, but Naruto's focus was elsewhere. High in a tree sat a red-haired boy with black-ringed eyes. Temari, Kankuro, what are you doing? The redhead said emotionlessly. We were just, Kankuro began but stopped as the redhead shot him a glare. Silence, or I'll end you myself. And you put the kunai away. Gaara's gaze shifted to Naruto. Naruto smirked, but it didn't reach his eyes. He released Kankuro a little roughly and resheathed his weapon. Looks like the Chunin exams are going to be interesting. In a swirl of sand, Gaara appeared next to Naruto. They locked eyes, an unspoken challenge passing between them before both turned and walked away without a word. What was that? Sasuke asked, seeing the tail end of the tense interaction. I don't know, Naruto replied, but we should keep an eye on him. The group moved on, the day carrying on as the tension lingered in the air. All right, let's hear it. Which squads are participating in the Chunin exams? Hiruzen Sarutobi asked calmly, his hands clasped as they rested on top of a desk cluttered with scrolls and documents. I propose Team 8 for the exams, Kurenai stated confidently. They function efficiently as a unit. The only hurdle might be Kiba's impulsiveness in combat situations. Hiruzen gave a slight nod and turned his attention to the next jounin. I nominate Team 10, Asuma said firmly. Their synergy reflects that of their predecessors, they're ready. I endorse Team 9, Guy declared with passion. Their youthful spirit is blazing bright enough to overwhelm any enemy and lead them to triumph. Team 7 is prepared, Kakashi added with his usual calm demeanor, drawing surprised glances from the others. Sasuke's fighting prowess is exceptional, Naruto has an instinct for exploiting weaknesses, and Sakura has the sharpest mind of the group. Together, they have a balanced dynamic for this test. Sarutobi gave a final nod before dismissing the Jonin. The stage is set for the Chunin exams, he murmured as he stared out the window, a shadow of unease creasing his aged face. Still, I can't shake this ominous feeling. XXX the following day, what was up with that illusion? Naruto asked with irritation as the trio approached the designated exam room. It was likely a trap to weed out the weaker teams, Sasuke replied coolly, reaching for the door handle. As the door swung open, a sea of ninja from different villages came into view, each one turning to glare at the newcomers with an air of hostility. Whoa, this place is crawling with some intense people, Naruto thought, scanning the room until he spotted Hinata's squad approaching. Yo, Hinata, Kiba, Shino. The three acknowledged him. Shino silently observed a bug, Hinata blushed under Naruto's gaze, and Kiba simply gave a nod. Quite the intimidating crowd, Kiba remarked as he eyed the scarred competitors. Not that it matters. Right, Akamaru? His pup barked excitedly in response. Sasuke's sharp eyes continued surveying the room until Ino suddenly lunged at him. Sasuke, there you are, she exclaimed, wrapping herself around him. I haven't seen you in forever. Back off, Ino, Sakura yelled, causing everyone nearby to look over. Make me billboard brow. Ino mocked, sticking her tongue out and pulling her lower eyelid down. You should really tone it down, a soft-spoken man with silver hair and glasses said as he walked over. He wore a Konoha headband and smiled pleasantly. Everyone here's tense already. Last thing they need is a loud group of rookies causing a scene. The 9 rookies narrowed their eyes at him, everyone except Naruto and Hinata, who were still quietly chatting. And who might you be? Sasuke asked sharply, eyes narrowing at the stranger. Name's Kabuto. Just thought I'd offer some advice, coming from someone with experience. His condescending tone and smug smile irked Sasuke. How many times have you taken the exams? Sakura inquired, genuinely curious. This will be my 4th year and 7th attempt. Then you must have some intel we can use, Sasuke said, giving a cold smirk. Kabuto smirked back. All right, I'll humor you. He produced a stack of cards. These are my info cards. All the data I've gathered over the years, only visible with my chakra. He activated one card with his finger, causing it to spin and display the number of participating teams per village. Sasuke's smirk deepened. Do they include details on individuals? Some. My database isn't complete, Kabuto admitted. Then give me what you've got on Rock Lee from our village and Gaara of the Sand. Kabuto looked mildly disappointed but complied. You already know their names and villages, so this'll be easy. He placed a card on the floor and it activated. Rock Lee, 20 D rank and 11 C rank missions completed. Trained by Might Guy, teamed with Neji Hyuga and Tenten. First time in the exams. Skilled in taijutsu. Weak in both ninjutsu and genjutsu. Sasuke scowled. That didn't tell him much about Lee's tricks in combat. Angara, Kabuto started, but was cut off as three figures suddenly lunged at him. Kabuto dodged just in time as one of them swung a gauntleted fist. Too slow, he mocked, but then winced and vomited as his glasses shattered from the sheer pressure. Before things escalated, a loud burst of smoke filled the room, silencing everyone. I won't tolerate fights before the exam begins, a towering man barked. His bear-like build and scarred face made him intimidating. Cause trouble again and you're out, got it? Everyone nodded, clearly uneasy. Even Naruto was a little unsettled. My name is Ibiki Morino, I'll be proctoring the first phase. Follow me. The genin followed him into a previously locked room. XXX inside, everyone was assigned a seat as Ibiki approached the board. This is a written test, he said as Chunin distributed papers. You all start with 10 points. If we catch you cheating, we subtract 2. Lose all your points and you're disqualified. Begin. Naruto scanned the paper. The questions were far too complex for average genin. These questions are impossible. Unless they want us to cheat, he realized, frowning. He looked around, others were cheating in subtle ways. Ibiki was watching with amusement. The real test is cheating without being noticed. Clever, Naruto considered his options. Shadow clones wouldn't help. His sealing skills were no use here. None of his seals were meant for intel gathering. Then he noticed Hinata shifting her paper into view. She blushed deeply as Naruto glanced her way. Okay, I've got the answers. Now how do I get them unnoticed? Checking his pockets, Naruto felt a few items. A coin, an ink bottle, a tag, and a smoke pellet. Perfect. Being a prankster finally pays off. He discreetly pulled them out and began working. Drawing a transference seal on the coin and tag, Naruto smiled at the results. He hid the tag beneath the desk and casually propped his feet up, flipping the coin absent-mindedly. What's he up to now? Ibiki mused, watching Naruto with narrowed eyes. Walking over, Ibiki snatched the coin. Quit distracting the others. Some people here actually care about their ninja future. He left the coin on his desk and returned to the front. Meanwhile, Naruto smirked under his breath and silently formed the tiger seal beneath the desk. The seal activated, slithering off the coin and onto the proctor's desk, unnoticed. All right, showtime. Naruto slipped his one and only smoke pellet beneath the seal hidden under his desk and formed the tiger hand sign. A soft pop echoed, quickly followed by a loud crack as a thick lavender cloud exploded at the front of the classroom, obscuring everything in a haze. Ibiki! The proctors turned in alarm as a tall, stern-looking man stormed out of the smoke, his expression livid. He stomped over to Naruto, who sat calmly with a smug, playful grin on his face. You think this is amusing? Ibiki growled, eyes narrowing. Naruto simply tilted his head, feigning confusion. Don't pretend. I had just placed the coin down when a smoke bomb went off. And what makes you think that was me? Naruto replied innocently, brow raised, though inside he was fighting the urge to burst out laughing. You were trying to cheat, Ibiki accused, his voice low and threatening. But his eyes widened in surprise when he saw Naruto's answer sheet was still entirely untouched. I'm sorry, Ibiki-sensei, but I honestly have no idea what you're talking about, Naruto said, voice sweet as honey. Standing up, he allowed Ibiki to search him and his workspace. The older man scowled in frustration when he failed to find a single trace of wrongdoing. May I return to my seat? I really should get started on the exam, Naruto added politely. Ibiki shot him a glare, but without any evidence he begrudgingly nodded. Naruto sat down and gave a quick glance at Hinata, who smiled softly, her test conveniently tilted away. Naruto quickly jotted down the answers he'd memorized during the commotion. He scribbled in the last of his responses, just as Ibiki announced time. Now for the 10th and final question, Ibiki said, his voice booming through the room as groans of frustration echoed around him. But first, one last rule. You can leave now and try again next year, or stay and risk everything. If you remain and fail this final question, you'll be banned from the Chunin exams forever. A wicked grin stretched across his scarred features. Gasps filled the room. The tension in the air was suffocating as the genin processed the stakes. Well, what will you choose? Ibiki asked, his grin spreading as he watched the fear grow in their expressions. That last question was nuts, Naruto said later, scratching his head. Still can't believe you actually threw a smoke bomb in the middle of the test. Sakura muttered, her brow twitching. It was perfect timing, Naruto said with a smirk, hands behind his head as they followed their next proctor, Anko. The smoke bomb hit just as he dropped my coin. He had no real proof it was me. Yeah, but if he had figured it out, you'd be in serious trouble, Sakura warned, frowning. Her words, however, were cut off as the group halted. Everyone stared in disbelief at the eerie terrain in front of them. Welcome to Training Ground 44, Anko said with a twisted smile. Better known as the Forest of Death. XXX, we're home, Denpa shouted as he walked into the hut, only to get a swift whack on the head from Ishiki. What was that for? Denpa winced. Keep it down, idiot, Ishiki scolded. Before the brothers could argue further, a soft cough stopped them in their tracks. They turned sharply and bowed to an elderly man sitting nearby. How did it go? The elder asked, settling back with effort. Smoothly enough, Denpa said, leaning against the wall. We delivered the items to the Uzumaki just like you wanted. Wonderful. A smile crossed the old man's face. How is the Uzumaki boy? The two brothers exchanged sly looks. He's doing fine, Ishiki replied with a mischievous glint in his eyes. Yeah, we've been keeping tabs on him, Denpa added with the same grin. Then perhaps the clan will rise again, the old man said before another coughing fit overtook him. You should rest now, Ishiki said, walking over to support him. You shouldn't overexert yourself, Denpa agreed, helping his brother guide the man inside. Once alone, they sighed quietly. He doesn't have much time, Ishiki murmured, earning a smack from Denpa. You think I don't know that? He whispered. We just need to bring Naruto here. Soon, Denpa nodded, and together they vanished into the forest again. XXX Naruto and his squad moved deeper into the forest, an eerie feeling prickling their senses. This place is giving me chills, Sakura muttered, arms crossed tightly. Relax, we've got this, Naruto said, giving her a confident look before turning toward the gloom ahead. What's the matter, scaredy cat? Sasuke smirked. Naruto shot him a glare, but before he could respond, a ghostly howl echoed through the trees. Naruto glanced back to see Sasuke stiffen. What's the matter, tough guy? Nervous, Naruto chuckled, walking forward as Sasuke fumed silently behind him. None of them noticed the trio of shadowy figures watching from the foliage above. XXX Naruto had gotten separated after needing to take a brief detour. Just as he turned to rejoin his team, he found himself staring into the eyes of a massive snake. His eyes narrowed as it coiled, then lunged. Reacting instantly, Naruto summoned a clone, which flung him into the trees. The snake devoured the clone, and Naruto smirked, until the beast turned toward him again. A faint trail of smoke drifted from the snake's jaws. Good thing I brought sealing tags for fire release, Naruto thought as the snake began thrashing violently before bursting into smoke. A summoning, Naruto muttered, a cold feeling creeping into his stomach. XXX, what's the matter, Sasuke-kun? Sneered the pale man before Sasuke and Sakura. Is this all the Uchiha clan can muster? Furious, Sasuke unleashed a stream of flames, forcing the snake-like man, Orochimaru, to dodge. For a brief moment, he looked skyward with a frown before chuckling to himself. I assumed you'd be inside my pet's belly by now, he said casually. You mean that overgrown worm was yours? Naruto landed in front of his team, eyes immediately scanning their injuries. You did this, he growled, shocking both his teammates with his tone. Orochimaru's grin widened. And if I did? Naruto's eyes flared red for a split second. Orochimaru's smirk faltered, that chakra, unmistakable. Sasuke, get Sakura out of here, Naruto growled. He leapt toward the snake Orochimaru had summoned. Orochimaru drew a long, thin sword from his throat and sliced through Naruto, only to find it was a clone. More shadow clones rushed him, but Orochimaru easily dispatched them. Using clones for 2 reasons, he said with amusement. 1. A distraction for your friends to escape. 2. Studying my moves to devise a counter. But neither will work. Suddenly, Sasuke's form shot from the shadows, his Sharingan blazing, fingers poised in the tiger seal. Sasuke, wait, a new clone called out, trying to stop him. Katen. Fireball jutsu, Sasuke roared, engulfing Orochimaru in a massive flame that smashed him into a burning tree. Naruto reached Sasuke just in time to see him scowling. I don't need your help, Sasuke hissed. You're injured. I can stall him long anew. Without warning, Orochimaru's blade whirled through the smoke, piercing Naruto's side and narrowly missing his heart. Coughing blood, Naruto glimpsed the snake-like man, mostly unharmed, stepping through the smoke. You should keep your eyes open, Naruto, Orochimaru sneered. Lifting Naruto into the air with his grotesquely extended tongue still gripping the sword, he hurled him into a tree. Naruto's body went limp, unconscious. He fell, only to be caught by Sakura just in time. Sasuke glared at Orochimaru, rage building as the man's smile grew even darker. "You've definitely grown strong, Sasuke-kun, but I must be going now. So I'll leave you a little parting gift." Orochimaru clapped his hands together, and his neck suddenly stretched out like a serpent. Before Sasuke could react, Orochimaru's extended neck closed the distance, and his teeth sank into Sasuke's neck. He pulled back, and a dark symbol started to spread across Sasuke's skin. Pain exploded in Sasuke's body, and he cried out, clutching his neck. Sakura, who had just laid Naruto gently against the forest floor, sprang toward Sasuke and caught him before he collapsed. "What did you do to him?" she asked, fear in her voice. Orochimaru only chuckled in response. "I gave him a present." With a wicked grin, Orochimaru melted into the bark of a nearby tree and vanished. Sasuke went limp in Sakura's arms, though he was still breathing. She supported him as she returned to Naruto and laid Sasuke in the hollow trunk beside him. When she checked on Naruto, she realized his wound was completely gone. "That's not possible," she thought. "No one heals that fast." Sakura removed Naruto's cloak, vest, and shirt, searching his body for injuries but found not a single mark. "I was sure he was hurt." Unable to find any trace of damage, she turned her focus back to Sasuke, who was shivering like he had a fever. "Hang in there, Sasuke. I'll get some water," she whispered. She returned a few minutes later with filled bottles. Wetting a cloth, she placed it over Sasuke's forehead to cool him down. "I guess I'm on guard duty," she muttered, keeping watch without realizing a pair of unseen eyes were locked on her. XXX Team 8 had the best fortune so far. Right after starting, they set a trap that caught a team carrying the exact scroll they needed. Hinata was admiring a photo and smiling softly when she heard footsteps approaching. She quickly tucked the picture away and looked up to see Shino coming toward her. "What's on your mind?" he asked calmly. "I was just thinking about Naruto and how he's doing." Hinata blushed, gazing at her reflection in the nearby water. "They'll be fine," Shino replied, sitting beside her and glancing at the ground for insects. "If I know Naruto and Sasuke, they won't back down that easily." Hinata smiled, and Shino stood up to continue his search. Hinata turned her head to see Kiba resting against a tree while Akamaru played nearby. "Please be okay, Naruto-kun," she prayed silently. XXX moments after Sakura came back with water, they were ambushed by 3 ninja from the village hidden in sound. Sakura was thrown aside by Zaku. She had barely returned when the attack started. The female sound ninja had grabbed her by the hair, but Sakura cut it off with a kunai and countered with clones, managing to land a hit on Zaku before he retaliated with a brutal punch that sent her flying. Rock Lee arrived out of nowhere to help, but Dasu disabled him with a sound blast to his inner ear, knocking him out cold. Sakura watched helplessly as Kin advanced on her, grinning maliciously. "I guess this is the end," she whispered. But suddenly, the air thickened with ominous chakra. Everyone turned to see Sasuke standing, his Sharingan active and cloaked in dark, purple energy. Black markings crawled up the left side of his face. He locked eyes on Sakura, seeing her bruised and bloodied. "Who did that to you, Sakura?" he asked, voice trembling with fury. Zaku smirked. "That was me, what of it?" Instantly, Sasuke vanished and reappeared with a devastating punch that sent Zaku crashing into a tree. Dasu and Kin tried to retaliate, but Sasuke raced through hand signs. "Fire style, Phoenix Fire Jutsu." Tiny fireballs flew toward them. Kin dodged, only to be struck down by a powerful kick from Sasuke. He stared at his hands, then burst into a maniacal laugh. "This strength, it's overwhelming." Dasu dropped his scroll and pleaded, "Take it, just let us go." Sasuke stared him down, shaking his head. "Too late." He stepped forward but stopped when Sakura hugged him from behind. "Please, Sasuke, stop," she cried as the sound trio fled, leaving the scroll. "You've won." "That's enough." The markings and chakra faded, and Sasuke stumbled slightly. "Sorry, Sakura. I think I lost control for a bit," he said, though part of him couldn't forget the intoxicating power. "Whatever that guy did, it made me stronger." A groan pulled their attention, and they turned to see Naruto waking up, holding his head. He glanced around, noticing his upper clothes were missing. "What happened?" he asked, blinking in confusion. Sakura opened her mouth, but Sasuke shook his head subtly, mouthing, "Don't tell." "You were hurt, Naruto. We had to check your wounds," Sakura said with a gentle smile. Naruto looked around and saw Sasuke holding up a scroll. What's that? It's our way into the tower, Sasuke replied smugly. He displayed the scroll proudly. Naruto cheered, Sakura beamed, and Sasuke merely shrugged. One step closer to my goal, he thought darkly. XXX unknown location, have you found the Uzumaki? A deep voice asked from the shadows. Yes, he's in the Hidden Leaf Village, a subordinate responded respectfully. The name of the village drew visible anger from the shadowy figure. We can't just storm in, we'll need to be patient. He began pacing. We'll wait until he's alone and then he's ours. With a punch, the figure shattered a wall, revealing a scorched and blood-stained flag bearing the Uzumaki symbol. This time, I'll make sure you stay dead, Uzumaki. He yanked down the flag and set it ablaze, watching with cold, burning eyes as it turned to ashes. XXX Naruto and his team moved through the forest cautiously, scanning every step. After Naruto got dressed, they helped Rock Lee recover. Once awake, he leapt up shouting about youthful spirit, then dashed off before they could ask questions. Not long after, they encountered another group. Naruto recognized Team 8. Despite Sasuke and Sakura's warnings, he rushed toward them. Hey guys, he called out. The others instantly dropped into battle stances. Whoa, take it easy, Naruto held up his hands, grinning nervously. Sorry, Shino said as bugs emerged from under his collar. This is a competition. Everyone's a potential threat. Even Hinata kept her distance, though she blushed and smiled faintly at Naruto. So you don't trust me, huh? Naruto noted their lack of aggression. Guessing from your hesitation, you've already got both scrolls. Kiba's expression confirmed it. Don't worry, your secret's safe. My team's heading to the tower too. Maybe we can go together, safety in numbers. And what stops you from turning on us? Shino asked. Naruto pulled out both of his team's scrolls. Why would I? He replied. Sasuke and Sakura jumped down, and Sakura instantly thumped Naruto on the head. Are you crazy? You don't show the enemy what you have, she scolded, shaking him like a rag doll. Hinata, blushing deeply, also revealed their scrolls. Hinata, why'd you do that? Kiba shouted. Because Naruto makes a good point, she stammered, fingers poking together. Would be safer to travel together. Kiba was about to object, but Shino nodded. It's a logical plan. Naruto stood up, brushing himself off. Great, then let's move. The group began heading toward the tower. While most kept a wary eye on one another, two weren't watching at all. Naruto, grinning at the destination ahead, and Hinata, cheeks red, watching Naruto. Upon arriving at the tower, the teams unfurled their scrolls, only to have different individuals emerge from them before their eyes. For Team 8, it was Kurenai, while Team 7 saw Genma step out. They explained to the genin the purpose of this test. After a short wait, more teams began to file in. Then Sarutobi appeared, surveying the group, all exhausted and covered in dust. Before we proceed to the next phase of the Chunin exam, anyone who wishes to withdraw should speak now. Sarutobi observed as several raised their hands and left the tower. Very well, we shall begin. Due to the large number of participants this year, we will divide the final test into 2 segments. The announcement drew groans, but Sarutobi raised his hand for silence and continued. This trial will evaluate your knowledge and how effectively you can defeat your opponent. I'll leave the rest of the details to Hayate. Hayate took over and thoroughly explained the rules to everyone present. Does everyone grasp the rules? Hayate scanned the crowd and noted numerous nods. All right then. Let's see who will go first. All eyes turned to the screen as names flashed by until it stopped on 2. Zaku Abumi vs. Naruto Uzumaki, Hayate announced loudly. Teams began exiting the area as Naruto glanced at Zaku with a grin. Zaku returned the look with a glare. Are the contestants ready? Hayate looked at both Zaku and Naruto, who nodded firmly. Begin. Hayate quickly stepped back. Just in time, Zaku raised his arms, revealing his palms. Zankyuha, decapitating air wave, Naruto observed as a wave of wind pressure surged toward him and his shadow clones. The blast struck its target with a loud boom. 1 down, 2 to go, Zaku said proudly, a smug smile on his face. Turning quickly, Zaku barely avoided a kick aimed at his head by Naruto. He leapt and swung his arm toward Naruto, who pulled a red seal from his pouch. If I hadn't dodged that, it would have cost me way more than this match, Naruto said, smiling at Zaku. I'm curious how this works. He inspected the red seal, causing Zaku to scowl deeper. If that impressed you, wait for this. Zaku inhaled more air pressure. Zankakyokyuha. Extreme decapitating air wave. A much larger shockwave shot toward Naruto, the sound of slicing air filling the arena. Fuinjutsu, Shaki Aku, Naruto shouted as the wave neared. The seal exploded, releasing a stream of flames, Naruto's mistake. When the flames met the shockwave, they were instantly extinguished. His eyes widened as the full force of the attack hit him. Spectators behind Naruto scrambled to avoid the blast or risk harm. Zaku laughed triumphantly as the smoke cleared to reveal Naruto lying injured in a crater, bleeding. "I win, you weakling." Zaku strode forward, but froze when a noise made him look up. Another Naruto was descending toward him. Zaku fired an air blast, but Naruto's shadow clone pulled him away just in time. Naruto landed on the platform where others awaited. Removing his cloak, he tossed it to Kakashi, who caught it. "Keep this safe, sensei, I don't want it damaged," Naruto said before leaping to the floor below. "Now where were we?" Zaku clenched his teeth and raised his arms again. "Oh right, I remember you losing." Naruto smirked at the furious Zaku. Naruto charged as Zaku unleashed another attack. He dodged the blast but still got a cut across his face. "Seems like those pipes control air pressure." Naruto formed 4 shadow clones. "I need to block those vents." The clones rushed Zaku to limit his long-range attacks. Zaku jumped back, blasting the clones away. "You won't beat me that way." Zaku grinned and aimed at Naruto, who smiled back. Why is he grinning? Zaku wondered but ignored it and fired again. The Naruto hit turned into smoke. Spinning around, Zaku readied another blast, but Naruto grabbed his wrist. The attack began pushing Naruto back, but before he was thrown off, he grabbed Zaku's neck, smashing him into the wall, leaving a clear imprint. "I told you, weakling, you can't win." When the smoke faded, Naruto began to laugh. "The thing is, I already have." He formed a tiger hand seal. Zaku tried moving forward but found himself immobilized, black lines spreading over his body. "Wondering what this is? It's one of my earliest seals, paralyzes the target, making them vulnerable." 2 clones leapt from behind Zaku and punched him to the ground. "You lost." Naruto approached, drew a kunai and pressed it to Zaku's throat. "Winner, Naruto Uzumaki," Hate declared as everyone saw Naruto's skills. "Damn, he used forbidden jutsu so easily and seals too." Baki watched Naruto stroll upstairs, hands in pockets. What kind of training is Konoha giving their ninjas? He noticed Gaara watching Naruto intently. Looks like Gaara's picked his opponent for this. The screen cycled through names until it stopped on Shikamaru versus Kinsuche. "What a hassle," Shikamaru muttered, walking down lethargically, showing no excitement. "Let's get this done." "Scared you'll lose to a girl," Kin taunted, but Shikamaru yawned. "Begin," Hate signaled. Kin threw Senbin at Shikamaru, who lazily dodged left but still got one in the shoulder. "So you use something like Cage Shuriken no Jutsu Shadow Shuriken technique," Shikamaru remarked, pulling the Senbin out. "Except Senbin, not Shuriken." Kin frowned. "You figured it out." Kin pulled 3 Senbin from her pack, "but that won't save you from the sound." Shikamaru was puzzled until a bell rang. He covered his ears, but Kin shook her head. "It's already in your mind." Kin split into 3. "Now you can't beat me." Kin threw Senbin but stopped. "Kageme no Jutsu Shadow Imitation Technique success." Shikamaru smiled, moved his right arm and Kin mirrored him. "Good, now to finish this." He grabbed a shuriken. Kin did the same. "Game set," both threw simultaneously. Shikamaru leaned back hard, Kin followed but hit a wall instead. His shadow retracted, Kin slumped unconscious. "Match." Shikamaru ascended as Hate called his victory. Naruto patted Shikamaru's back. "Good job," Shikamaru yawned. Naruto looked at the board showing Sasuke versus Yori and smiled. "Good luck, Sasuke." Sasuke glanced briefly at Naruto then descended. Naruto was unsettled by Sasuke's look. What was that about? He saw Sasuke take a fighting stance. XXX Denpa and Ishiki watched an old man shivering as if cold. The man gestured to them, who approached politely. "We must find them," he said in a shaky voice. "Find who?" Denpa asked, his face sorrowful. The man leaned in and whispered into Denpa's ear. Ishiki saw Denpa's eyes widen in shock. Denpa hesitated. "Are you certain?" The old man nodded, closed his eyes and fell asleep. "What was that about?" Ishiki asked, but Denpa only smiled faintly. "We have to go to Nami no Kuni." That was all Ishiki needed to hear. "Then let's move." Ishiki tossed his brother a cloak while putting one on himself. "Let's go." The two left the cabin, heading toward their destination. Kakashi decided to escort Sasuke to the medical station after his match to get him treated. The following fight was between Sakura and Ino, which ended without a clear victor. Then it was Kiba's turn against Shino. Kiba immediately charged forward, but quickly found himself trapped amid Shino's swarm of insects. After the bugs slowly drained both his and Akamaru's chakra, they finally gave up. Next up were Temari and Tenten, and the outcome was one of the most brutal Naruto had witnessed. After blasting away Tenten's weapons and slashing her, Temari positioned her fan beneath Tenten and let her fall onto it. This left Tenten bent backward over the fan, and to make matters worse, Temari tossed the helpless girl against the wall, only for Rock Lee to catch her before she hit it. That was seriously unyouthful, Rock Lee said, visibly furious for the first time. But before he could act, Guy stepped in and held him back. Temari climbed the stairs smiling, but as she passed by Team 7, she glanced at Naruto. Their eyes met, and for just a fleeting moment, Temari swore she saw his eyes flash red, and a massive fox with a ravenous gaze loomed behind him. Kankuro noticed his sister's sudden pale complexion. "What's wrong?" he asked, watching as Temari turned toward him. "I get the feeling he's like Gaara," Temari muttered, glancing back at the arena screen where Kankuro was facing a man named Misumi. The match ended quickly. Misumi wrapped around Kankuro and snapped the puppet's neck, only for it to be revealed that Kankuro was a puppet himself. The real Kankuro was concealed beneath the bandages. Clenching his fist, chakra threads attached to the puppet animated it. The puppet coiled around Misumi and methodically shattered every bone in his body except his neck. The next bout had Hinata feeling tense as she faced her cousin Neji. Naruto approached and gave Hinata a reassuring pat on the shoulder and a supportive smile. Hinata stepped into the arena as Neji scowled. "What are you doing?" Neji said, shaking his head. "You can't be serious about fighting me." Hinata looked up just as Naruto gave her a thumbs up, and she nodded back. Taking a fighting stance, she activated her Byakugan. "Her eyes, she's not the same anymore," Neji remarked to Naruto, who smiled back. Did he do something to help her? Neji didn't dwell on it and assumed his stance. "Begin," the two clashed. Neji thrust a palm strike, but Hinata blocked it. She countered similarly, but Neji parried. This exchange continued for several minutes until Neji unexpectedly grabbed Hinata's arm and slammed her down. "I told you. I meant to win this," Neji said, locking eyes with her before evading a chakra-enhanced strike. His grip loosened and Hinata rose. "I don't care, I'll keep fighting." She charged, but Neji vaulted over her, landing lightly. Without turning, Hinata sensed Neji's incoming strike, spun, grabbed his arm and thrust her palm, but he caught her hand. Both pushed with chakra and were thrown backward. Neji charged again, but Hinata stood firm. As he neared, she extended her hand, and when Neji reached to catch it, he felt a sharp cut on his palm, like a chain-link pattern slashing through. Examining Hinata's arm, he saw it shimmer with sharpened chakra. "She's coating her arm in chakra blades," Neji muttered. "That could be dangerous." He zigzagged toward her. Hinata followed, and as she swung her arm, Neji leapt over it. When Hinata turned, Neji slammed his chakra-infused hand into her back, sending her crashing into the wall. As he approached, Neji spotted 2 photos on the ground. He picked them up. One showed Hinata with Hayashi, her mother, and Hanabi. The other made him smirk. It was a picture of Naruto and Hinata at Ikaraku Ramen at night, with Naruto placing a kiss on Hinata's cheek, causing her to blush. Hinata's eyes widened and Naruto cursed. She searched her jacket but found nothing. "Give that back," Hinata glared at Neji. "I wonder if Hayashi knows about your little romance with the village outcast," Neji teased. Hinata slammed her hand down right where he had been standing. "I said give it back." There was menace in her voice. "If you want it, come and take it." Neji grinned as he slipped the photo into his shirt. Hinata charged, doing exactly what Neji wanted, getting angry. He dodged her punches and thrusts, provoking her more. When Hinata attacked with both hands, Neji seized the moment, ducked, and struck her stomach. Hinata coughed blood and was knocked back. "You're playing right into my hands, Hinata. The angrier you get, the more reckless you become. I just waited for you to slip up, too bad." Hinata simply smiled at him. "What's there to be happy about? I may have lost, and you may have hurt me, but I still love you, Niasen," Hinata said softly. This only seemed to enrage Neji further. "I don't know what I did to make you so angry, but I still care. That's why I pity you, living your life consumed by rage." Seeing red, Neji charged, ignoring Heiat's call that the match was over. He lunged with an arm, but it didn't connect. A purple hexagonal barrier blocked him. Neji looked up to see Naruto descending, hands clasped in a tiger seal. I think that's enough, Naruto said, walking toward Hinata. Neji charged, but Naruto dodged and moved to Hinata's side. Neji tried again to attack but found himself immobilized. Looking down, he saw black markings like before. Naruto, breathing heavily, took the photos back and handed them to Hinata, who was collecting her family picture. I'm sorry, Hinata said with tears. I was supposed to keep the photos safe. Naruto smiled and patted her shoulder. It's not your fault. I knew someone would find out eventually. We'll deal with it when the time comes. Hinata nodded, following Kurenai out. You know, you two are meant for each other, Neji said, breaking free of Naruto's seal with chakra. You're both weaklings. Look at you, barely able to use Fuinjutsu without draining yourself. Naruto chuckled. Funny you say that when Hinata almost beat you, he said, watching Neji's growing anger. And I managed to dodge you and paralyze you. Neji clenched his jaw but composed himself. Sorry, you'll have to do better than that to trap me. Neji watched Naruto shrug and head up the stairs, giving Hinata one last smile before she disappeared. Naruto, Kakashi called out, waving. I just got here in time to see the last few seconds of Hinata's match. Didn't know you two were together. That was the idea, Naruto said, leaning against the wall. What do you think would happen if the village found out about us? Kakashi nodded. Not that it's my business, but how long have you two been together? Kakashi asked. Since about a day before the teams were assigned, Naruto recalled. She was one of the few besides Sarutobi who helped me through Uruka's death. She kept me from falling apart. That's what brought us together. Naruto watched as Choji and Dasu's names popped up. After Asuma bribed Choji with barbecue pork, Choji bounded down to the arena ready to fight. All right, mummy guy, I'm gonna beat you and eat all the pork I can, Choji declared fiercely. We'll see about that, Dasu said, raising his gauntleted arm and smiling beneath his bandages. Heiat gave the signal and Choji clasped his hands. Beika no Jutsu expansion jutsu, Choji yelled as he ballooned up. He tucked in his head, arms, and legs and shouted, Nikyuden Sensha, then rolled at Dasu at high speed. Dasu leapt aside as Choji crashed into a wall, leaving a hole, then rolled back at Dasu. Dasu dodged again and punched Choji's inflated body, but it had no effect. This is pathetic, Dasu said, forming a tiger seal. Farewell. Suddenly, a piercing screech filled the arena. Everyone turned to see Choji on the ground, disoriented. Heiat declared Dasu the winner as the mummified man climbed the steps. Meanwhile, Rock Lee bounced with excitement as his name appeared next to Gaara's on the monitor. Gaara disappeared in a swirl of sand and reappeared on the floor, staring down Rock Lee. All right, let's just get this done, Gaara said flatly, showing no sign of emotion. Yes. It's time to unleash my youthful energy, Rock Lee exclaimed, springing into the air with excitement. Gaara remained expressionless, watching the enthusiastic ninja leap and land before him. His eyes flicked from Lee to Naruto, glinting with a dangerous intent. Heiat raised his arm sharply. Begin, he commanded, and Lee immediately charged at Gaara. Lee threw a punch aimed at Gaara's face, but a barrier of sand suddenly erupted between them. Lee pivoted quickly and attempted a swift kick, but the sand shield blocked that too. Gaara's gaze hardened as the sand surged forward, attempting to trap Lee. Lee leapt backward, evading the grasping sand, but the grainy tendrils were faster. They slipped under Lee's feet, causing him to lose balance. Looking up, Lee saw a torrent of sand crashing down toward him. The sand exploded on impact, but when it settled, Lee was gone. Gaara scanned the area until he spotted his sand forming a protective shield behind him. He spun around to see Lee trying to punch through the defense. The sand caught Lee and slammed him into the wall, but Lee twisted midair and landed gracefully on his feet. Using the wall to propel himself, Lee launched back toward Gaara, only to be met by another sand wall that forced him to dodge. Lee sprang onto a massive sand hand at the arena's edge and locked eyes with Gaara, who returned the stare unflinchingly. How do you attack someone shielded from all sides? Lee pondered aloud, glancing at Guy, who gave an encouraging nod. Lee grinned. All right. He jumped and quickly removed his orange leg weights, revealing the heavy bands beneath. Does he really think dropping a few weights will help him break through Gaara's sand? Temari snickered. Lee sighed with relief. Now I can move much faster. The weights fell to the ground, drawing everyone's attention. When they hit, the impact left deep craters and shook the earth. Gaara's eyes stayed fixed on Lee until he suddenly vanished. Sand shifted erratically as Lee's fists struck faster than Gaara's defenses could respond. The sand bore multiple fist-sized holes, but then it froze. Gaara searched for Lee's position and saw a spinning shadow above him. Before he could react, Lee slammed an axe kick into the top of Gaara's head. Gaara slid back, blood trickling from his wound. "That can't be," Kankuro muttered. "Gaara's injured." The crowd watched as Lee smiled and glanced up at Guy, who nodded once more. Lee unwound his bandages until they trailed behind him. He dashed at Gaara, circling swiftly. Gaara's vision blurred by Lee's speed until a kick connected with his jaw, sending him airborne, just a few inches but enough. Lee's expression hardened as he unleashed a flurry of rapid kicks. But just as Gaara reached the perfect height for Lee's finishing move, Lee suddenly winced in pain. Gaara noticed and spilled more sand, but before he could act, Lee wrapped Gaara tightly in bandages and spun rapidly toward the ground. "Amot Renge forward lotus," Lee yelled just before they crashed. The impact unleashed a massive explosion, sending dust and debris skyward. "Gaara," Temari thought, anxiety creeping in for her brother. "Such strength," Naruto observed as the dust cleared, revealing Lee crawling from the crater and Gaara stuck upright, head buried in the dirt. "I did it." Lee started to relax but then heard sinister laughter behind him. He turned to see Gaara emerging from the sand with it sliding off him, a twisted grin stretching across his face. "Is that all?" Gaara sounded bored. "I hoped for a bit more fun." He licked his lips. Lee watched helplessly as a wave of sand surged toward him. Naruto now approached the last place he wanted to visit, the Hyuga residence. After Lee was carried off by medics with crushed limbs from Gaara's attack, Sarutobi announced the next phase of the Chunin exams would occur in a month, giving participants time to learn new skills. Numbers were drawn from a bag to determine matchups, and Naruto found himself facing Neji first. Later, Naruto visited Hinata in the hospital, but was stopped by two Hyuga guards standing watch. Before Naruto could retreat, Hayashi appeared, his gaze sharp and unreadable. "We need to talk," Hayashi said sternly. The guards and Hayashi exited together, leaving Naruto alone with Hinata, who looked guilty. "Your father seems friendly," Naruto remarked as he entered. Hinata smiled softly. "He wasn't pleased about us keeping things from him," Hinata admitted. "He wanted to know what happened between us." She looked away briefly, then back. "I'm sorry I didn't hide the picture better." "I told you it's fine," Naruto said with a relaxed smile. "Besides, I wanted you to keep it, so if things get rough you can remember that day." Hinata blushed and smiled. "I should go now." "Your father wants to talk to me," Naruto nodded. "Don't worry, I'll be careful." He leaned in and kissed her before leaving the blushing Hyuga. Outside, two guards stood at the gate, one motioned for Naruto to follow. "Hayashi is already waiting," he said. Naruto admired the grounds as he walked, a rainbow of flowers decorating the landscape. He almost bumped into the guard who stopped in front of a door. "Hayashi's in here," the guard gestured. Naruto was about to knock when Hayashi's voice called out, "Enter." Inside, Naruto faced Hayashi and an older Hyuga elder glaring at him. "Father, we'll continue this later. I have someone else to speak with." The elder left with Hayashi following. With the door locked behind him, Hayashi turned without looking at Naruto and sat down. "Sit," Naruto obeyed. They stared at each other for a long moment. "I know you've been seeing my daughter behind my back," Hayashi said, disappointment and anger mixed in his tone. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Hayashi-sama, we planned to," Naruto answered carefully. "But between missions and the exams there wasn't time." "I see, but why not ask for my permission?" Hayashi's Byakugan activated, making Naruto nervous. "When did you start dating her?" Naruto looked up. "The day before team assignments." Hayashi's eyes briefly widened. "That's when Hinata began training harder," he mused. "I ask again, why no permission?" "I guess I forgot," Naruto admitted. "With everything going on, it slipped my mind." Hayashi kept his Byakugan active, studying Naruto intensely. "Why are you still using the Byakugan?" Naruto asked nervously. "To detect lies," Hayashi replied coldly. "I don't know what you've done with Hinata, but from what you said, she started training harder and gained confidence the day you started dating. Both you and she have been honest with me, so I believe you. That's why I'm letting you continue seeing her." Naruto relaxed, exhaling deeply, but Hayashi's gaze remained unwavering. "I'm giving you one chance, Uzumaki, but I'm watching every move, every breath, every sight you take. Screw up once and I'll tear you apart. Understood, Naruto nodded slowly. Good, now leave, I have more pressing matters. Hayashi returned to his paperwork, but Naruto thought he glimpsed a small smile. Before leaving, Naruto said, Hinata is lucky to have a father who cares so much. Hayashi looked up, but Naruto was gone. His voice had been sincere. Hayashi shook his head and returned his attention to the papers, glancing at a photo of his wife, Hinata himself, and Hanabi all smiling. Take care of her, Uzumaki, he thought. Nami no Kuni Tazuna was laughing with a group of people, including Haku, celebrating the bridge's completion when two cloaked strangers approached. Welcome, how can we assist you? Tazuna greeted warmly. The two exchanged looks and smiled. We're surprised you don't recognize us. Tazuna frowned. Anyway, you can help us, we're searching for a man who used to live here. Oh. And who might that be? Tazuna asked, glancing at Haku, who quietly lowered his hand toward his senbon. We seek one of the fallen, one said. Tazuna's eyes widened enough for Haku to react. With swift hand signs, Haku trapped the strangers in ice up to their necks, their hoods falling off. Tazuna rubbed his eyes, doubting what he saw. Remember us now, Tazuna. If not, allow us to introduce ourselves again. My name is Denpa, the first said with a smile. And I am Ishiki, the other added calmly. Tazuna stared, stunned. I thought you two were dead. The pair laughed. What do you want? We already told you, Denpa growled. We want to know where he is. Tazuna met their gaze quietly.